you have what it takes. Tighten your belts. Shut your visor. The battle begins now.
Everybody to the Race Department IndyCar World Series, the inaugural season of this championship. So very first time they're running IndyCars here at Race Department using the R Factor 2 DW12. Here with the first round being at Sebring in the US of A. And a fantastic track this is. This is the Virtuo LM version, which is pretty much probably the best version around for R Factor 2. And it should be a fascinating first race. So got a field of, I think, 20 cars here for this first round. Got a few absences, unfortunately, from this first one. But either way, it should be a highly competitive first race. I've already had a look in practice, and the midfield looks like it's very close on pace. So we should have some very good battles in the midfield and elsewhere. Alongside me here for the qualifying to walk us through this first part of the broadcast is none other than Mr. Lorenzo Bonda.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the IndyCar League. It's a great pleasure to be broadcasting with you all this first part of the qualifying. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be into the remainder of the race because I'll be live stewarding this race. But I'm excited. I'm really itching to see some good laps and some great racing.
Indeed, no, it should be a very fascinating race, this one, of course, around the Sebring circuit. We're going to have a 62-lap race, so a nice long race it will be. It'll be a very interesting one, definitely a test of endurance, I feel. Being a bit similar in length to a F1 race almost, just showing the length of that race. So it'll be a pretty testing race, and these cars are not easy to drive by any stretch of the imagination. As me and Dave were discussing before the broadcast, I've had a little bit of a crack at these myself. I think just over a month ago or so, I had a little bit of a fun drive on these things, and they are not easy at all to drive there. A bit of a handful, to say the least, which is probably why the numbers here are not as high as we've seen in, say, the touring cars, for example, because these are very difficult cars to drive, and I think some people probably not quite find a little bit difficult to get to terms with these cars, and I certainly can't blame them because I struggle a lot with these cars. So I think it's a common problem for a lot of people because they are a handful, to say the very least. But we have had a few laps coming in. Evan Spall's on provisional pole at the moment with a 37.231. We've seen times in the 35s in practice from a certain Frederick Schornstein there. He was he's doing a high 35s, I think he was, in the practice before the qualifying, and he's extremely fast. You have to clear of second place by, I think, about a second. So he looks like the one to watch for this first race. But as we were mentioning before, me and Dave were looking at the times, and it looks to us like the guys in the midfield from sort of the back end of the 10 down towards sort of 14th, 15th look like they're all quite close on pace. So that could be one to watch. This midfield battle could be quite fascinating here, as it looks like there's a lot of guys in that midfield which are very similarly paced in these cars. But how about you, Lorenzo? Have you had a bit of a experience playing around with these cars? Found them sort of a bit difficult to drive, like me and Dave you were discussing before?
Yeah, I'm gonna be very honest. I did have to drive around these cars. They're not very easy to handle. I definitely gotta agree on that one. They feel kind of like the F1 cars in terms of brutal force. Of course, they don't have a lot of horsepower that the F1 car does, but either way, they pack so much punch coming out of the straights and curves that if 1 foot very heavy on the gas, you're going to be probably oversteering your car and spinning it around. And just explain viewers at home who are watching this, explain a little bit how the system works. The system works as following. Drivers will have an out lap. They're going to do 2 to 3 quick laps, and then they're going to come back to the pits. They're going to have 20 minutes to do it. Then they're going to be a little bit of a warm-up. I'm not sure if pits are going to remain closed. If I'm not mistaken, they're going to remain open. And then it's a 62 lap race, and all hell breaks loose. But as said, there's live stewarding on this one, and we expect this to be a very clean fight. in a very, very polite fight as well.
Indeed, yeah. No, I'm actually quite pumped for this, to be honest. Live stewarding, I think, is a very cool aspect we're going to have for this. It's a very unique aspect, because obviously usually we don't have a live stewarding system in place, but for these ones we do, because it makes sense for these Indy cars, because that's generally probably a safer bet to have that here for these, because as we said, they are a bit of a handful to drive, and it is a pretty long race, so it makes sense to have live stewarding in place. And I think it would be really good. I'm really quite keen for it. It'd be especially interesting if we do get a safety car or two during the race. That would really make it very interesting indeed. I feel like that would definitely spice things up. So fingers crossed we can get some really close but exciting racing. I think I agree. I think it'll be hopefully very close but very clean. I suspect all these drivers obviously are quite aware of how difficult these cars are to drive. So I think that they will be quite respectful, I would expect. And a lot of these guys, again, are familiar faces we've seen in other leagues, and there's a couple of guys I know from other leagues elsewhere here that I know are quite fast and quite clean. One of them, unfortunately, has actually DQ'd. It's Nathaniel Lubson, and I know him from SimRacing.club. They do the Virtual Endurance Championship series over there using R-Factor 2, and he's unfortunately DQ'd. It looks like he's... Oh, and Evan Spoll's DQ'd. Oh, no, he was on... Oh, I think he was second, provisionally, so... It looks like
they're gone over the quota. That's unfortunate. The first round, I expect that to happen. To be quite honest, it's going to be a little bit of a surprise because that's how Indy works. That's how American sport works. Like 2 laps, quick laps, and there you gotta go back to the pits. And like the first lap, if you do not go, it will be counted, and that is a bummer. I don't know what's going to happen on the comment section after, but while rules were made clear, well, there's nothing we can do, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, indeed. I guess it's as we were mentioning. I think I did see in the rules code. Well, obviously, I had a little read through things just to make sure I was up to date on everything. And I think, as my voice is a little bit moment there, but I think from memory, one of the rules was the in lap actually counts as a lap. So I'm guessing that what's happened with those two is they've gone to do their laps and then not realised the in lap actually counts as a lap. So they've come in and that's DQ'd them. So I'm guessing that's why they've gone over the limit. I've got another few blokes who've done, another few guys, blokes, very Aussie of me, who've done their laps. Ryan Reed Edwards has finished his laps. James Wilson has finished. In fact, a lot of guys have finished their laps or have done most of them. But there is quite a few guys. We've got a good, I'd say, 4 or 5 guys who are yet to do a lap. I think it's 4, is it? 4, yeah. It's 4 guys yet to do a lap. Luke Walsh, Sherwin Van Slot, and Charles Bacchio, and Frederick is another one who's yet to do that. The guy who was seeing the blistering pace in practice. So expect him to, when he does pop out, be going pretty fast in these cars. I think he's probably doing what I would probably try and do as well in these conditions. Obviously, RFX2, the dynamic racing line, dynamic track evolution, as rubber is laid down. He's probably waiting until the end of the session when people have laid down some laps, laid down some rubber to get the maximum possible grip. He's probably going to wait till then pop out and try and do some hot laps is what I'm guessing he's planning, which is why he hasn't popped out of the lane just yet. So we're just looking through now. Those only a few, as I said, I mean, most of the field, I think, from judging from the laps done, it looks like most of the field has actually finished their runs already. So that's interesting to see. There's actually one person, one or two people, one at the moment, who's done 3 laps. He's in the lane. And so because of that, I don't think he can actually do another lap because of obviously the way the lap system works. So that's all interesting to note. Tobias Rona, by the way, just popping into second spot there, half second off James Wilson, who currently holds provisional pole position on a 37.2. Otherwise, as I said, it's all pretty quiet at the moment. Only a few guys left to do laps. Most of the field has actually done their laps now, so they're all just cruising around. But yeah, as I said, I'm getting really quite excited for this race. Should be quite a fascinating one to watch. Again, as we said, I mean, this is not probably the size of field we're really used to for something like, say, the Mini Challenge or the Touring cars or something like that we've run previously here at Race Department. But just because there's not as many cars doesn't mean there isn't going to be fantastic racing. It's something I've noticed from my time in racing and stuff like that, is that you don't need 50 cars or whatever on track to have a really good race. You can just have a dozen guys and you can have an absolutely amazing race. So that doesn't mean that we won't have great racing here. And as me and David were discussing before the broadcast, we've got a good chunk of the field, and you even see it here in qualifying. I mean, 4th to 7th or 8th are all within half a second of each other. So where you see it here in qualifying, there's a lot of the field that are actually really close on pace. So it should make for some fascinating racing here in this first round of the championship. But it's going to be an interesting season, Lorenzo, because I noticed on the calendar we've got circuits, road circuits like this. Obviously, IndyCars do road and oval circuits. You've got the road circuits like Sebring, and then you've also got, I know we're doing the Indy 500 at the mid-season, and I think the last round is an oval track too, if I'm not mistaken. So it's going to be a good mix, isn't it, of road and oval circuits. And we're going to be able to see who excels where in these cars.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Just explaining too how the calendar works. Like 67% of the races, they are going to be road races, because most of the. It's funny that Indy cars run on basically on a 60-40% basis. So 60% would be road and 40% would be ovals. We would start here at Sebring and we would end at Fontana, which is the Apple Valley Speedway, which is the R Factor 2 representation of Fontana. Yes, we're going to have the Indy 500. It's going to be exciting. And just one quick thing. Apparently, we found a bug. There is probably a bug on the hot laps of R Factor 2. That what happened for this one, we took out Evan Spall and Nate Lobson's DQs. And we are considering for this one, we're going to check post-race what is going to happen.
Okay, yeah, fair enough there. I guess it makes sense. Obviously, as we said, it's whoa. I was just gonna. Oh, that's a big one.
Oh,
I was
that's a
watching
big
Sherman
crash.
Von Slot. Yeah, he's just finished his first lap. Sorry, no, second lap. Yeah, it was his second flying lap, and then he's just gone flying into the wall out of the first corner there. He took a bit too much curve, I think it was. I'll see if I can get on board here. Yeah, oh, yeah, that steering is very, very much banned. He's not even turning right as he goes through the super right-hander. So I think he's done, unfortunately. That's the end of his runs. Still fourth spot, only 7/10 off the provisional pole. But again, as I mentioned, Frederick's still yet to actually do a lap. And he's just exited the lane now. So he will be the last guy to do his laps. So that is, as I said, he's obviously planned strategically to be the last one out there so he can get the maximum possible grip levels from the dynamic track conditions. So smart stuff there from Frederick. So you would assume, judging from his practice pace, he should be a pretty handy pace here, at least in the top three. But you'd think he should be the top man pace-wise, judging from that practice pace he was showing. But either way, we're in the last just about to go the last 5 minutes of this qualifying session. But again, we've only really got one driver yet to start his laps. Sherwin, I think, is done now with that damage. So we've only got two other guys apart from Frederick who are out there doing their laps. That's Charles Bacchio and Luke Walsh. They're the last two, aside from Frederick, to do their laps. Bacchio is in 10th at the moment, 1.3 off provisional pole. Walsh is 17th, 4 seconds off provisional pole for the time being. But again, they've still both got, I think, 2 flying laps, if my calculations are correct, to complete. So we'll see here. Bacchio is crossing the line. Does he improve? He does. Ooh, nice. Goes third on a 37.615 there. It's a very nice time from Charles, so he'll be happy with that. As he goes around, he'll have probably one more lap at least. I think one more lap to go. So this will be his last flying lap. Luke Walsh is just going down the back straight now. He's in the Syntech car. I know that team from another league that I do racing at, so that team's a part of. Very nice liveries they make too, especially that one there. It looks very nice on the IndyCar. I've got to say, the dark blue and the black, I think it's a good combo. But either way, here he comes, across the line. Does he improve? He doesn't. There he goes. So he stays 17th for the time being. I think Frederick is just coming through the latter half of the circuit now on his first flying lap. So we'll keep an eye on that for you. So 21 drivers for this first race. As I said, there's a couple of absences, unfortunately. I know one, it's a bit of a shame, really, because I know he's generally quite handy, at least in the Virtual Endurance Championship and the LMP1s. It's Jimmy Broadbent, unfortunately. I think he's had internet issues by the sounds of it, which is really unfortunate for him because, as I said, I'm sure he would have been at least in the top 10. Surely I would expect him to be quite well up the field because he's a pretty handy driver. So real shame for him, but I guess it's unfortunately the ways of sim racing. And there you go, Frederick, first lap, first flying lap, straight out of the box and goes to provisional pole with 37 flats. Frederick just as you do. The great stuff there from Frederick, but again, he's still got, keeping in mind, 2 flying laps, so expect that time to come down even further.
And Charles coming up right now.
Yep, Charles coming up to improve. He does. Wow, nice. Oh. Charles improves. Very nice. So he should move up to third. No, he stays fourth.
He stays fourth. But yeah, look at the gap. What is interesting? Look at the gap between second and fourth. It's really nice. Tight.
Yeah, it's not even, that's literally 0.04 pretty much of a second between second to fourth. That is super, super close. So great stuff there. It's James Wilson, Evan Spall, and Charles Bacchio really close on pace, which is really nice to see. So as we said, I mean, there's not the huge numbers that we've possibly seen at other leagues, but these kind of gaps are really close. As we said, second to fourth, they're very close. Sixth, seventh, eighth, I mean, sixth down to pretty much ninth, 10th, within like half a second of each other. You've got a couple of guys further back in midfield there, quite close. So I think we could have some very interesting little battle packs here over this race. So I reckon it could be a really fascinating race. Certainly I'll be watching with interest. So I think Luke Walsh has actually finished his times. He's 18th. Looks to be where he will qualify. So it looks like the last person to finish will be Frederick, and he's actually just finishing a lap now as he comes through the final corner. You've got to think he'll improve, surely. Let's have a look here. Will he go 36s? He does. 36.372. Yeah, that is unbelievable. 8/10 clear of second spot. Frederick just absolutely, wow, unbelievable stuff from him. And as I think I was mentioning before, I'm fairly sure that in practice he did a high 35, I think, as his best lap. So I reckon he's got more pace in him still. So, it's possibly
wow.
Yeah, on his final lap he might go even faster. That is unbelievable, isn't it, Lorenzo? It just shows some people just really can click with certain cars. I know I wouldn't be able to go that fast with these cars, that's for sure.
And neither do I. I would have a hard time even trying to get this car on the straight line. And I did have, but wow, Frederick's lap just shows like how controlled that car. And if you watch through the stream that I'm watching, he's basically dancing with his car, like just trying to pull an Ayrton Senna. But it's amazing how this car, how much aerodynamic this car has, and he's basically pulling a full power on the road circuit, like he's putting a lap 1 second over everybody. It's something out of this world. It's extraordinary.
Yeah, he just had a little bit of an oversteer moment there onto the back straight though. He nearly lost it, but again, as you see, he just caught it and kept going. Unbelievable stuff, really, from him. He's just coming through the final section now of the track. We'll see how he goes here as he comes through the final corner. No, he's gone. Oh, he catches it. Wow, that was a good catch. He just got a little bit of a wheel on the grass there and almost went at the wall. Great catch in the end to catch that car from Frederick, but either way, he doesn't improve, but still 8/10 clear. And as I said, I reckon he could do 35. So I reckon realistically, he's a good second at least clear of everybody else. So unbelievable pace from Frederick. He takes pole here at the first round of the season here at Sebring. So he's on pole, 8/10 clear of James Wilson. Pretty unbelievable stuff there from him. But James Wilson in second, Evan Spall third. Giles Pacquiao in fourth. Again, that second to fourth battle could be really fascinating for the race, because if they are all that close on pace, that could be a really, really nice battle to watch as the race goes on. Tobias Verona, he's in fifth spot. The Sherman Bond slot there in sixth. Ryan Reed Reynolds is seventh, with Ali Ferry in eighth. Kreshnik Halili is ninth, with Trevor Greenfield in 10th. Tal Siegel is 11th, with Tapio in 12th. I'm trying to see what that is. That's a very nice livery, just got to say, is in that yellow Arnhem car. It's a very nice livery, that number 37. Nathaniel Lobson does get 13th, with Alex DiDomenic Antonio in 14th, I think, just in the latter half of the field. Martin Vindens is 15th, with Campbell Wallace in 16th.
We're going to...
Campbell, sorry, I just said that. Matthew Beavis is 17th, with Luke Walsh in 18th. Norman Bruce is 19th, with Andrew Harper in 20th. And then it's Seisman in the number 62 car is in 21st, rounding out the field. So that is your field for this first round of the championship. 21 cars, as I said, starting this race. And again, as I said, should be a fascinating race. There are a lot of guys in the field, very close on pace, so expect some good battles here. And I'm going to have to get used to floating car too, because unfortunately for me, James Wilson is in a floating IndyCar that's basically a hover car without wheels. So I'm going to have to get used to seeing that throughout the stream. So I think it's a little bit of a graphics glitch from my end, which is a shame. But anyway, not much can be done there. But yeah, that was quite a fascinating qualifying there, Lorenzo. And it's I reckon that, as I was just saying there before, I reckon this could make for quite a fascinating first race of the championship.
Oh, indeed. I like what Qualify brought us. It has been very, very, very competitive. Drivers pushing their all in this Qualify, making their best effort, trying to get the best lap out. Now, races, let me remind you, the guys at home, it's going to be 62 laps. Certainly, drivers will have to do a pit stop for tires and everything. One thing also on these cars, they must try to avoid spinning this car too much, because spinning this car means a lot of loss of grip, tire wear too. You're not going to have much grip down the laps. You're going to have to do earlier pit stops. I really hope to see not a lot of incidents, that the stewarding goes smooth as well. We don't have to get involved in a lot of stuff, but you never know. It's racing, is as good as it gets, and good luck to all drivers.
Indeed, yeah, indeed. So, have to echo that sentiment. Hopefully, we'll have a nice incident-free, mostly anyway, race. I'm sure there'll be the odd little moment here and there. There always is in racing, but hopefully it'll be a generally entertaining and clean first race of this season. Should be a fascinating one. We'll be watching with interest from here, and good luck, of course, to yourself and Matthias on the post on the live stewarding front. Hopefully, you two will have a nice, not too stressful opening round of the season.
Oh, thank you. And now I'm gonna have to say goodbye. I'm probably gonna jump up above, get ready for the stewarding. You guys have a good broadcast, and good luck to all drivers once again. And I hope the guys have watching this at Twitch. Please follow us if you're liking this race. If you want to keep yourself up to date with other events, follow us on Twitch. And if you want to sign up for race events in this league, we have sign-ups open still. Go over RaceDepartment.com, sign up, and acquire premium, and be sure that you enter and race with us.
Indeed, yeah, no, that's a great little sentiment, $10 now, Lorenzo, and we'll hopefully have a great first round of the season. So good luck again to the live streaming, Lorenzo, and we will probably see you later on, I guess, hopefully in the broadcast and so on. So hopefully you guys have a good time there. Yep, we'll see you later on.
All right, cheers.
So we are not too far off going green here, just under 2 minutes to go until we go green for the first round of the Race Department IndyCar World Series, the inaugural season of this series. Something new, something a little bit different here at Race Department. I mean, we run a lot of touring cars and the like in recent sort of seasons. Obviously, the RDTCC being one of the main premier series that was running in the last sort of year or so. The V8 Supercars and the Markers touring cars, but obviously something a little bit different here today in the form of the American IndyCars, the W12, the one IndyCar available at the moment. I'm really going to have to start getting used to seeing James Wilson's a floating IndyCar. That's very distracting. Anyway, either way, it should be a fascinating first round, as we mentioned before. And again, good luck to Lorenzo and Matthias on the live stewarding front. Something a bit different as well. So this series really is going to be a lot of different things. We're going to have, apologies, just the announcements going out. So yeah, so it's going to have live stewarding. We're going to have the obviously being IndyCars, that's something different in its own right. You're going to have some oval racing as well throughout the season. So all sorts of very fascinating racing ahead for this season. And hopefully it should be a fascinating first round. Again, as we were seeing qualifying there, a lot of guys really close on pace. So I do think that we should have a pretty fascinating first race of the season here. We've only got 20 seconds left in this first warm-up. And then I believe it's a warm-up now, and that's another 2.5 minutes after this, I think, to get to the grid from memory, if that is correct. But we will see. But either way, it should be fascinating. There is a few rules as well in terms of track limits around here for the Sebring circuit. I'll probably talk about them a little bit as the broadcast goes on. For the moment, we're going to just focus on the start of this race. Again, the one man to watch would be Frederick Schornstein there. He looks like he is in a bit of a league ahead of everybody else. Looks like his pace is pretty unstoppable in that car. So I expect him to be probably, it's always something you don't want to do as a commentator. You don't want to really call something too soon, but with Frederick's pace, it just looks like he is literally in a league of his own in that car. But fingers crossed, we're going to have a nice close race for this one. So, about to go to the line for this one. It'll be a rolling start too. Keep that in mind. Again, something new for us in terms of recent series. We're not on a standing start. This is a rolling start for this race, being the IndyCars, like in the real world, they do rolling starts in those. So that's what we'll be doing here. Is oh boy, just noticing Di Antonio, they're just getting a bit stuck on the pit wall there. It was a bit awkward for him, but anyway, and just to get himself unstuck in the end, I think we should be looking good to go. Looks like everyone is just trying to get themselves sorted here. They'll be all heading out of pit lane. Ooh, there's a bit of a train there as people are trying to sort themselves out. Again, this is all a bit different for us here in terms of race department and for the drivers. This is a different system with the manual formation lap and the way the warm-up and the way that the going to grid all works. It's all a bit different for the drivers, so it's something new they'll all be trying to adjust to and get themselves used to. There's still a few guys in the lane to head out, but they'll be heading out soon, I'm sure. Again, I think they all manually head out. I think they've got 2.5 minutes, if I'm not mistaken, to 2.5 minutes to get themselves out of the lane initially, and then I believe after that 2.5 minutes of getting out of the lane, they have another 2.5 minutes to get to their grid slots. So the 2.5 minutes now to get themselves out of the lane and circulating the track, and then after that it's another 2.5 minutes to get themselves to the grid slot so that the rolling start can commence and we can get on with the race. So that is how this is all going to work for the start of this one. So don't be worried that you're seeing them all sort of just loiter around at the moment. That is a part of the starting procedure that we have for this series, which will be going very soon. So unfortunately I can't see the time in game. I'm not entirely sure how long it's been. I think it's probably been just over a minute. I'm sure you guys in the broadcast can probably see, but I can't see here. But I would say we'll probably be heading to the end of that initial 2.5 minutes pretty soon, and we will soon be heading to the race. While we've got time, while everyone's just kind of loitering around here as we get ready to go, we will have a look. I'll just have a quick look now and sort of try and explain a little bit of the track limit rules and the like. So, turn one is, I believe, so obviously the official rule that has always been in place here at Race Department, and I think it's a general rule pretty much in around league racing, is that the way the track limits work is that the cars need to have 2 wheels at least inside the white lines. Around the circuit, the white lines are counted as the edge of the track limit, so the curbs are not counted as track limit. That's something that's key to remember. So it's the white lines that are important, not the curbs, and that's generally the rules for track limits just as a whole, pretty much anywhere you go in league racing, at least in the major leagues, that is. But obviously here at Sebring, there's a few corners which are a bit different like that, and I think there's a few exceptions that have been made. So turn one there, the first corner as they head down the straight, the drivers are allowed to place the car's wheels on the left line of the pit exit. Touching the right line is considered cutting. So there's double lines there that are for the pit exit, and you could possibly see them on the broadcast. Hopefully you can there, just so you sort of know what I'm talking about. But there's 2 lines that are pretty close together there on the pit exits, so drivers are allowed to have their left side wheels on the left line. On the right line though, and that's a cut, so that's a little bit of an exception or a special rule there at turn 1. Turns 15, 16, that's the back of the circuit, the I believe the triple, the right, left, right there, that section onto the back straight. Drivers must keep 2 wheels on the white lines at all times. Going over the curbs with 3 wheels or more is considered cutting, so that's something that's been reinforced there. And there's also some special rules for the pit exit as well, in terms of the white lines there as well, because again they've got the double white lines there for the pit exit, and there's some special rules there. And also as well, a little bit of an interesting note is the pit lane exit line, in terms of the actual speed limit line that counts towards the speed limit, actually ends before the lights just. It's about probably a car's width that line ends before the traffic lights there, or the pit lights. So that's something that's also been noted in the pre-race notes. So I just thought I'd just go through that really quickly so that you're all sort of aware of what's going on that. But it looks like we should be pretty close to going to green here, as all the cars, there we go, yeah, 1 minute to go until we go to green, so the cars now have a minute to get to the grid, and I think it's looking like pretty much everyone's already there, so everyone's going to be sitting there for a while. Something else that was noted as well in the pre-race is these cars, the engines do get quite warm quite quickly, or quite hot, sorry, quite quickly. when they're standing still for long periods of time. So that's something to note as, Taylor Sequel just trying to shimmy his way into his pit spot there in the middle of the field. But anyway, yeah, so that's something to note. These things do get, like pretty much most racing cars, they get pretty hot pretty quickly if they're sitting there stationary. And I think I already see someone smoking engine-wise. Who is that? I think that's Ryan Reed Edwards. His engine's already smoking. Oh boy, we're going to have a procession of smoking engines now as they all get a bit hot. Everyone's sitting there on the grid. There's two guys who are yet to actually exit the lane. So it looks like Trevor Greenfield and Norman Bruce have stayed in the lane, which is interesting. So they haven't actually exited the lane to go on the track, which is a bit interesting. I suspect they were supposed to be out on track. Okay, yep, so we're going now. So this is to the formation laps. This is the rolling start we're talking about. So, yep, so this is the rolling start that we were mentioning before the broadcast. It is Lorenzo Bonda So it is Lorenzo Bonda who is in that pace car. He's, obviously, as we said, this is that live stewarding we were talking about. So he's in the pace car, just leading them around now on the formation lap. And this will be the formation lap. And from here, we go to a rolling start when they finish the lap. So should be a fascinating one to watch. So as I said, the grid is going through now. They will go on this formation lap. Rolling start, and then once they get around the lap, we begin green flag racing. So should be a fascinating race, as we said. 62 laps around this circuit should be quite something to watch. And I'm just noticing as well, I've been noticing this since I joined the server, and we've seen the skins. Also, by the way, some very pretty liveries, again, as always, in this field. So we're pretty much used to here at Race Department. Some very colourful liveries throughout the field. Always really good to see. All the work that goes into these liveries. There are some absolutely fantastic ones on display here. But one thing I noticed was the Doug Henson racing cars. They're Indy cars here that they've got with their design. Honest to me, anyway, I've been noticing during the practice, it looks to me like, because of the way it's painted with that black on the front wing, it actually looks like the front wing. I was getting confused as to whether the front wing was on their car at one point, because I saw them going through the practice and I thought one of them had a crash and didn't have a front wing, but it was just because of the paint job. It looks a bit deceptive of where the front wing is. So it's just something I noticed with that paint job. Just thought I'd mention that. So just going through now towards the back half of the circuit, not too far now until we go to green flag racing. Yeah, for the first round of the Race Department IndyCar World Series. And again, it should be a fascinating first round. Good, fantastic track to start at too here at Sebring. It really is a classic track of American racing in general, especially IndyCars as well. So should be a really fascinating race. As Lorenzo mentioned, there will be pit stops throughout the race for tyres, etc. So should be fascinating. Just got the stewards just instructing the drivers. So this is all live stewarding. So all the drivers are on the team speak at the moment, and they're being instructed on how to go about the start procedure, so that we're all clear on what's going on. So it's all very, very unique here for a Race Department series. But here we go. Everyone's got to line up, obviously, side by side to start this rolling start. Looks like most of the field is starting to get themselves lined up. The field at the back are still kind of sorting themselves out. But other than that, looking like we should be good to go. Let's have a look, because the field at the back, as I said, are a little bit slow off, but either way, Lorenzo is in the lane. We're about to go, ready to go green here. First round of the IndyCar World Series here at Race Department. Should be Frederick, should be controlling the field, as he was on pole, of course, so it's, I believe, his decision on when to go green here is everyone's lined up. We're ready to go here for the first round of the IndyCars at Sebring, and I believe we're green. There we go, green flag now, and they're away for the first round here at the IndyCars at Race Department, and it looks like Frederick's got a lovely start. He is away already, straight away in the lead, gets past James Wilson in the first corner. Oh, we're going 3 wide through. That's about 5th, 6th, 7th, almost 3 wide through the first corner. It looks like everyone's gotten through okay by the looks of it. Oh, who's that? That was Evan Spall. Nearly spun it there into the left hand. He holds onto it in the end, and I think he's dropping back a little bit. He holds on to 6th, but he's got a lovely train of cars right behind him. He's with a half spin and he's trying to go through the left-hander. So awkward moment, he recovered in the end, and he's still going. So we are away now, finally, for this first round of this series. Look at that, Frederick is already absolutely bolted at 1.5 seconds already. We're 1 sector in, and he's just absolutely bolted down the road. So Frederick just showing that pace that we already saw him have in practice and in qualifying. So quite incredible stuff to see. James Wilson holding on in second spot. Charles Bacchio's got a lovely start in third. Schumann von Slot is fourth. He's also got a really nice start. Ali Ferry in fifth spot. Oh, someone's gone straight on. Oh, who's that? That's Ryan Reed Reynolds is in the wall. Oh, big crash. Ryan Reed Reynolds is down 21st now. He's at the back of the field. He's out, DNF'd. Wow, unbelievable scenes. First lap retirement already. He's Spall. He's at the back of the field, so he's dropped down big time. Alex Di Domenicantonio has no front wing. He nearly goes in the wall too as he's trying to limp around. So a little bit awkward there as he was trying to negotiate the guys at the back. But either way, massive moments already. We've only just started and we're already crash. So Reynolds is out. Ryan Reed Edwards is out with. And Andrew Harper is round as well at the back of the field. So big dramas here. Full course yellow, there you go. So we've just called full course yellow thanks to that crash with Ryan Reed Edwards and I believe it was Alex Di Domenicantonio. Big crash at the back of the field. I think Ryan, I only saw him spear across the track in front of the camera, but I think he just went off on his own accord, I think, from what I could gather anyway. So real shame there. So big crash already. We've only just started. So there you go. So big dramas already here at the start of this season. And yeah, there you go. So everyone obviously now just under having to go around, I believe it pit lane speed limiter. Speed, I think it is the rule. So everyone's just having to go around the track now at idle speeds pretty much as we all sort out course yellow now after that big crash. But wow, there you go. Massive crash to start things off here. So I believe Di Domenicantonio is already out of the lane. He is, yeah, and he's got his front wing already. So that was a very quick repair time for Alex. So that actually works out okay for him. As he doesn't go down the lap and he actually rejoins right at the back of the field. So it doesn't end up losing too much. So that's a win in a way for Di Domenicantonio. I believe he just came around the corner. And unfortunately, Ryan Reed Edwards was just kind of there right on the corner of the track and he just went straight into him. So real shame there for Ryan there to be out at the early stages of this race. But either way, we've got a pretty hectic start already. So there you go. Already one retirement. We've got one down already. We're only one lap into this race, but safety car conditions here, full course yellow at the start of this race. And yeah, we'll be obviously trying to sort this all out, try and sort the field out, get through this full course yellow. And then we will go green after that. I believe everyone has to go around the track now at controlled speed. I think Lorenzo Bonda, who's in the safety car for this one, he will pick up the leader when he goes around the laps. That's how this all works for this full course yellow. There you go. There you go. Well, I'll tell you what, you can't say we haven't had action already. We've already had a big crash in the very first lap of this series. Quite a big one that was. I just saw Ryan spear across the camera in front of me and just massive crash into the wall there. So again, as we mentioned, these cars, they're not easy at all to drive. They are quite a handful, to say the least, to drive these cars. I think, again, I'm not going to say I'm an expert on the cars because I'm certainly not an expert as certainly a lot of other people probably are in these cars, but from what I can gather, I don't think they've got, again, they're quite powerful, kind of similar speeds. I think they could probably pull two F1 cars, but I'm fairly sure they don't have the same levels of downforce, obviously the same sort of technical stuff behind them that F1 cars have. So you would keep that in mind. They remind me a bit, that just kind of reminds me of a classic example of that kind of thing, of the champ cars, the old champ cars, obviously, that used to run sort of in the, I think it used to be even, it was a different name in the 90s, but obviously ran through till I think it was the late 2000s, I want to say. And they were obviously the circuit races they didn't in America, and they were some pretty crazy cars. I think these kind of remind me a little bit of those. They were very similar, I think, to those kind of cars. Just a lot of power, rear-wheel drive, but not much downforce. So they were pretty crazy to drive. I know I've tried, obviously, Kart Factory is the mod that sort of replicates those cars, and I've tried that mod myself in R Factor 1 and in Stock Car Extreme. Obviously, it was converted to Stock Car Extreme as well. I don't think it's been converted for AMS just yet, but tried that mod, and yeah, they are absolutely mad cars, absolutely crazy. So I suspect these cars are a bit similar. And as I said, when I drove these about a month ago or so, just a little bit of play around drive with them, they were pretty similar, very wild cars to drive, very easy to lose control. But either way, looks like the leader has just finished that sort of full course yellow lap, and now I'm fairly sure Lorenzo should pick up the leader. Yeah, there he is. He's out on track now. So Frederick will go around now through the first corner. On the exit of the first corner is Lorenzo in the safety car, and so he will pick up the leader, and they will go around for the full course yellow now after that massive crash on lap 1 of this circuit. So it looks like running out the 1 lap of safety cars. Lorenzo will do 1 lap here of the full course yellow, and we will go to green after 1 lap. So there you go. So it's the 1 lap of full course yellow here. So effectively we only lose, I believe, 2 laps in the end of full course yellow. So not too bad there. But big shame for Ryan for that, having that big crash there on the opening lap of the race. Again, as I said, these cars are very tricky to drive, and so it's very easy to make a little mistake and then you're just in the wall and that's it. So I do suspect this will be quite a tough series. This one, these cars are very hard cars to drive. The damage, I believe, is set pretty high. Again, being open wheel is quite easy to damage these cars, bend the steering, that kind of thing, lose rear wing, and all that sort of stuff. So I think we could have quite a fascinating season ahead in terms of that stuff, just seeing who can survive with these cars and just be able to make them work for the race distance, because they will be very, very tough to handle, I suspect, for these drivers. So it looks like most of the field now is catching up to the safety car. We've just got a few guys at the back who've got to catch up to them. Hopefully we won't have any instance of everyone catching up to the safety car. Oh, okay, so it looks like there's a little issue with the safety car. I think it may be a connection issue, I'm suspecting, there for Lorenzo, unfortunately. So it looks like we're going to have a bit of a invisible safety car, as it were. So I think it's 150 kilometers an hour is the limit for Frederick here, as he controls the field in what would be a safety car situation. So we're just waiting to get to the end of the lap, and then it's green flag racing once again. So that is how this all works for this. Again, hopefully it's all making a little bit of sense here. It's not all too alien here. Again, something a bit different for Race Department, but it's looking like it should be fascinating to see how this goes. And again, all this safety car stuff is something to consider for strategy as well, because this could make things very interesting on the pit strategy front. So this, as Lorenzo was mentioning before, during the qualifying, pit stop should be a thing that will happen here with tyres and the like. And so, especially if there's a safety car around the midpoint or around when just before it's sort of a prime time to stop, it may cause some different strategies to play up, which could be quite fascinating to watch. So we'll keep an eye on that as we go through the broadcast. But either way, we're just coming towards the end of the full course yellow, and we're going to go green at the end of this lap. So back to green flag racing at the end of this lap. I believe the whole field is now ready to go behind Frederick, who again is controlling the pace at the moment. We'll see how we go here as we go along. So Frederick is coming through the final corner now, again green at the end of this lap, and I believe, actually I think it's the live stewards that call when it's green. So waiting on the live stewards to call the green signal, and then we can go racing once again. And there we go. So there it is, green flag racing once again here at Sebring, and someone's lost the front wing. It's Ali Ferry. He's lost the front wing off the line, just jumped a bit too soon. He's gone straight to the back of the car ahead of him. He's got no front wing now as he tries to limp around the circuit. He's in the 11th spot now, dropping back further. It's a big shame for him. This could be a little bit awkward. Hopefully the guys behind are aware. I think there's a spin. There is big spin at the back. Nathaniel Lobson is gone at the back of the field. It looks like he somehow managed to avoid damage. Great stuff from the guys behind to avoid whacking into him and causing a big crash. He manages to get away with that without any major damage. So he continues on, but a bit of a drama to start the race, to start the restart there. I think, as I said, it was Ali Ferry who jumped the gun a little bit too early, and I think the car ahead of him was a little bit slower on the reaction time, and Ali's just said had nowhere to go and just gone straight to the back of him and lost his front wing. So that's what caused that little bit of a domino effect behind as he dropped back. People weren't aware he didn't have a front wing, and that's what's caused those issues. But either way, look at this, James Wilson has actually got the lead off the line. Great jump off the restart from him. He has the lead from Frederick at the moment in these early stages. So switch for the lead at the front. The top two look like they're actually quite handily getting away. Sherwin von Sliders not quite keeping with them at the moment. You've got Luke Walsh in fourth. Great stuff from Luke. I think he was down in the midfield in qualifying. So great stuff from him and for Simtech to be up in the top 5 already. So great stuff from Luke. Charles Bacchio is in 5th. Campbell Wallace also, he started near the back of the field. He's up in 7th now. He just got taken by Tobias Rona, who's passed in 4 positions. So it looks like, because of the early crash early on, it looks like we've got some interesting orders going right now with some of the slower guys a bit further up. But Campbell Wallace coming back Tobias Rona here as they come through the sweeping right-hander at the back of the circuit. He tries to go around the outside, but he's not going to make it work. And that actually may give Tal Siegel a shot at getting past him. Evan Spall is in ninth, by the way, as he tries to recover after that early incident for him. So he's trying to recover as well. But either way, got some interesting battles going on throughout the field here. As I said, we've got some guys who are a little bit further back than they probably should be after those early shenanigans at the start of the races. Oh, who's that? It's Trevor Greenfield. He's off the first corner. He's off the 15th now. And I think he's just gone straight on the wall there on his own accord. I'll try and find out on the replay for you. Let's have a look here. Yeah, oh boy, yeah, he's just gone too hot in turn one and just gone off. I think he managed to avoid the wall though, so not too bad in the end. Just loses some track position there, so not too bad for Trevor. But either way, still James Wilson leading at the moment. He's actually managing to keep Frederick quite convincingly at bay, is James. So it's great stuff from him. And to be able to match Frederick at the moment, as we said, we saw before, Frederick clearly having quite substantial pace over the rest of the field, but James is holding for the time being. Look at Frederick in this middle sector here, right behind James Wilson in that car. Oh, James gets a little bit of a tardy exit there out of the right hand. That's going to give Frederick a chance. They're side by side as they get through the latter half of the circuit. And wow, look at that. I think Frederick's going to have it. He's got the inside of the right hander and it's done. Great move from Frederick there to get that move done around the outside through the left hander. Very brave stuff indeed. And he gets the move done to take the lead from James Wilson. It's great stuff from Frederick there, as he now retakes the lead, and you would expect with his pace he should be able to pretty easily start gapping James now as the race goes on, you would think. As I said, it's considering his practice and qualifying pace. So he has the lead now. James Wilson holds on to second though in that car. Sherwin Von Slott's still down third, and he's still within striking distance of James Wilson, so watch out for him to maybe have a crack at James soon as well. Walsh is currently in fourth, but he's got Charles Bacchio and Tobias Rona. They're coming back to the field again after I think a little bit of a slow start to the race, so they're trying to come back through, and they're on his back at the moment. Again, Luke Walsh, I'm fairly sure from memory, qualified down in something like 18th in the qualifying, so he's obviously had a really nice start, avoided all carnage in the first few laps, and he's actually found himself in the top 5, unbelievably. So great stuff from Luke Walsh to be up this far, but he does have Charles Bacchio and Tobias Rona behind, but Tobias Rona is actually having a look at Charles Bacchio here as they go down towards the hairpin, but I think he's backed out. He has, so they just go line and stern at the moment. Evan Spall, by the way, and Siegel are both past Campbell Wallace. He's down to the pump from Tapio in the number, I think it was 37, was it? Number 37, yeah, Arnon car. And he's actually having a look down his side. Oh, he is, yeah, he's having a look. Oh, he's looking, he's half looking. Is he gonna? No, he doesn't get it. Okay, so Wallace holds that position for the time being. Interesting to note, though, I'm fairly sure, judging from the tyres there, I think Campbell's actually on the slower tyre for these cars. Again, I think a bit kind of similar to F1 in a way. There's two different compounds, I'm fairly sure, for these cars. The red mark tyre being the softer, faster tyre, and the white wall tyre being the slower, harder tyre. So I think Campbell's actually on the slower tyre. And always gone wide there through the right hand. That's handed Tapia the position for 9th, so Campbell drops to 10th spot now. But yeah, it's interesting to know. It looks to me like he's actually on a different strategy to the rest of the field. So that is something worth noting, or at least a different strategy to the sort of top half of the field. So something worth noting, as a little bit of a battle further back. I believe it's 16th, a bit of a battle going on further back, which is interesting to note. Ali Ferry, by the way, managed to pit and get that front wing repaired, so he's now running around at the back of the field. Still going though, which is the main thing, so he can still make up time again. This is a 62-lap race, so plenty of time for him to make up those positions and get back through the field as this race goes on. Frederick, though, is leading still in this race. The number 13 car, 2 seconds clear already. He's already gapped James Wilson quite convincingly in that car, just showing again that pace that we know he has. But look at this. Oh, it's up to Tobias Rona again, having a look at Charles Bacchio. I think he's got the move done. He has. I believe he went round the outside of Charles there for that 5th spot. Great move from Tobias. He now moves up a spot. Bacchio gets demoted 1 spot. And keep in mind, again, Evan Spall and Tal Segal are coming back through the field again after a bit of a slow start for them. So they're ones to watch to possibly get involved in that battle too. And again, that's one of those, all those guys there are sort of a few of the guys we're talking about being quite similarly paced. So watch out for them to possibly into a quite interesting battle soon. Interesting to note too, Luke Walsh is actually managing to stay ahead of Rona and Bacchio. Again, I mean, they've both been fighting for position, but either way, it's quite impressive to see Luke Walsh managing to hold on to that 4th spot. Again, as I said, he qualified, I believe, 17th or 18th from memory in the field. So a pretty lowly qualifying from him, but he's in 4th at the moment. So again, obviously got quite a clean start, avoid the carnage early on. He's found himself in the top 5, so great stuff for him. And again, great stuff for Simtech too. They're in 3rd and 4th at the moment, so that's really good for them, team championship-wise. But either way, it's closing up a little bit for 2nd as well. Wilson's getting slowly reeled in by Sherwin at the moment, as that battle for 2nd gets a little bit closer. Again, Frederick, 4.4 seconds clear. He's just absolutely romping it. But Tobias Rona has managed to get past Luke Walsh into the first corner. Walsh is looking around the outside. Is he going to do it? No, he pulls out of the move, and Rona has, by the looks of it, managed to make that stick. Oh, Luke has a little bit of a half look there into the left-hander. That's actually going to give Bacchio now a chance. He's managed to get a little bit of a tiny exit, and Charles may have a shot, or he's not really closing at the rate he needs to. I don't think he'll have a look, really. No, he's too far back. Surely to have a look. Yeah, he is. So looks like Luke will hold 5th for the time being, but Tobias Rona through into 4th spot, so he can now start trying to close in on the battle for 2nd and 3rd spot. Luke Walsh now demoted to 5th spot, and now he's got Charles Bacchio coming in again. Evan Spall and Tal Siegel are both closing in as well, so expecting to have even more company in the very near future as he goes along. Everyone further back, though, is a bit pretty spread out, although again a little bit of battle further back. I think it's Nathaniel Lubson has just got past Matthew Beavis for 15th as he tries to recover after that spin after the safety car. Otherwise, again, it's all pretty line astern elsewhere. But I think the battle to watch is that battle for 5th spot at the moment as Luke Walsh tries to hold on from Charles Bacchio. Again, as I said, Luke Walsh, I believe his pace not quite as fast as the guys around him. I suspect he just got a really nice start, which is why he's in the top 5 alone. I think his true pace is just starting to show through a little bit now as the guys around him start to pick up their feet and start to get their true pace coming through. Bacchio having a look down into the final corner. He's going to make it stick. It looks like he will. He does. Nice move from Bacchio there. I didn't know if he was going to make it there. It's a little bit of a late move there from Charles, but he gets it through nice and cleanly. Luke Walsh giving him the space on the inside to make that move work. I think that is a done deal. It is. So he's now in 5th spot. Luke Walsh now demoted 6th, and straight away he's got Evan Spall for company. So the assault is not over just yet for Luke Walsh. So just keep coming at him right now. But we'll always tell Seagull it's a little bit of a oversteering moment now as well, left-hander. But yeah, either way, he's still in 6th spot at the moment. And again, it's just at the moment, I think if you can just keep your nose clean, get yourself through the opening sort of part of the race, that'll be the main thing you want to do early on here. And actually, Matthew Beavis and Nathaniel Lubson having a lovely little battle there for 15th spot. They're side by side for the first corner. I think Lubson's managed to get that stick. He has. So Lubson, I think, is actually defending from Matthew Beavis. So that's interesting to see. They've got about a 10-second gap or so to Martin Vindus, who's the next guy in line for those guys. But either way, I think, again, the main one to watch is probably going to be Luke Walsh, because I suspect he's going to start falling into the clutches of Evan Spall soon, although he's doing all right, I've got to say. Considering his qualifying, he looked a bit off the pace. It looks to me like his race pace is actually quite nice. So obviously he's starting to get the groove of the car. Whoa, Charles Eagle has a little bit of go around the outside there through the left-hander. Oh, there's another little bit of a half look there into the rhythm section here at the back end of the circuit, but able to make it stick. Evan Spall holds on to 7th spot for the moment, but that was an interesting little moment there from Tarl, and nearly had a bit of a look there for 7th spot. So if these two can start battling, Luke may actually be able to hold on to 6th spot if these two get a little bit of a fist fight for 7th. So I'm sure Luke will be watching them getting into a fight behind him and just be going, keep fighting you two, because it's helping me out. That is keeping him there. Look at this. Calcilo's got a really nice run out of the final corner. Really have a look here. Evan's going to go defensive here to make him go the long way round. He's going to turn one. Tal tries. He's going to try holding on the outside. He tries to. Still there. Ooh, Evan's still defending the inside line. He's going to try. I mean, if he makes it work, it's a great move. But no, he doesn't make it work. And Evan holds on for the time being. But I'll tell you what, Tal's looking quite pacey at the moment. So watch out for that battle. Again, that's probably the closest battle at the moment, is that battle for 7th spot. I'll keep an eye on that battle further back. Actually, Lubson... Ooh, I think Lubson may have had a spin. Ooh, okay, he has a... Lubson's got no front wing. So Lubson's now trying to limp around the circuit in his car, the DHR boys. Sorry, Doug Henson Racing. Yeah, that's right, DHR. Yeah, got it right, don't worry. He's just limping around now back to the pit lane. So Grisham, I think, is having a really nice little battle there for 15th with Beavis, but he's now going to drop further back as he pits for repairs. Ali Ferry is just starting to catch up to Andrew Harper as well, by the way, in 18th, what will be now 17th. That battle there. So Ali Ferry making some progress now as they try to get their way back up. Phil Vederick, the lead is 9 seconds now, just to keep you informed on Ferrick's progress. He is just so fast in these cars. It really is quite impressive to see from him. So just showing his pace in these Indy cars. James Wilson still holding on to 2nd spot. Sherwin yet to be able to make a move stick. It looks to me like the pace, as we saw in qualifying, their pace looks to be very, very similar. And there's no real area where Sherman just is able to get even half a look by the looks of it on James, although he's got a really nice run out of the final corner. He may have a look into turn one. Let's have a look. Ooh, yeah, here we go. He has a little look into turn one for second spot. I think he made the move done. Yeah, there you go. Sherman gets it done. Right as I was saying that he won't make the move stick, he makes the move stick, obviously, so it clearly shows how much I know about it. But James is right back through. Wow, look at that. Wow. Great move from James there. He gets back through, but always got a little bit of a bad exit out of the left-hander there. Got a little bit too much on the curb. That's upset the car, but I think he's managed to hold on to it. There you go. So great stuff there from James Wilson. Just able to counter that move from Sherwin. And actually, look at that, Tobias Verona is right on the back of this line. Charles Bacchio is not far behind either. So it looks like those two, again, their true pace starting to show through as they're bound to get themselves cured. And look at this, we've got a lovely battle developing here for second spot. So James Wilson holding on for the moment, but look at this, Sherman is right there. He may even have a look here into the right hander. Will he have a look? No, he's going to hold station. Again, Tobias Verona right there, Charles Bacchio right there. Luke Walsh has dropped back. Again, as I said, I didn't expect his pace to quite get the same as the top five, so he's dropping back. But interesting to note, Evan Spall is yet to make the move on him, so that is something worth noting there. But I think this battle for second is probably the one to watch, as I just noticed Mark Vindus had a little bit of a moment there, and he's spun in 13, but he continues on. And it looks to me like Trevor Greenfield may have had another moment as well, as he's in the pit lane, I think getting some repairs from what I can gather there. So looks to me like we've got a very interesting battle developing now for third. Look at this, the Sherman's got a bit of a tardy exit onto the back straight, and I think, I wouldn't be surprised if we have a look. Yeah, look at this, here we go, Tobias Verona having a look on Sherwin down into the final corner. Is he going to make it stick? Oh, Sherwin leaves the room, the side-by-side to the final corner. I think Tobias has got it. He has. Great move from Tobias Verona. Look at this, Charles Bacchio is in it as well. He wants a bit of a bite of the action too. And I think he's going to possibly have to go around the outside. If he can get this done, it'll be brave. Move around the outside into turn one. Will he make it stick? Surely not. No, he won't. He's just going to sit in behind. Wow, look at this, Tobias Verona gets the move done. He is straight on the back of James Wilson. I'll tell you what, Verona is looking very pacey at this phase of the race. We'll see how that all plays out later on, but he's looking very, very pacey indeed in that current list. Wow, he's got a really nice exit onto the back on this short straight as they head down towards the hairpin. He's going to try around the outside. He is, isn't he, into the hairpin. He's going to try around the outside. He's going to make it stick. Whoa, what happened there? Sherman. Oh, okay, Sherman. Oh, that's interesting. And Tobias has dropped back. Oh, he's made a mistake, and he's going to drop all the way back to fifth spot. That is, wow, that was very awkward. I think what happened there, judging from just what I was seeing, is I think Sherwin had a bit of a connection problem there. He just for a moment disappeared. And I think that just distracted Tobias for just that split second, and that's now cost him that third spot. So, whatever happened there, it's helped Sherwin, so he's now back in the third spot. So unfortunate for Tobias, but just one of those connection things you have in sim racing that you can't really control. So unfortunate for Tobias, so he's going to have to regroup now and restart his assault on the top five. But Sherwin back in the third spot, but he gets a bit wide onto the back straight, and it's going to give Bacchio a bit of a run as they head down towards the sweeping right-hander. I don't think he's going to actually have a look, is he? No, he's too far back to have a look, but this is helping James Wilson. He's just able to cruise along in second spot, just keep clear of all this, and he's holding on to second spot thanks to all this battling. So he, I'm sure, is more than happy for these guys to have a fight. That gap for Frederick, by the way, 14 seconds. Unbelievable pace that Frederick's got in that car. We're only 12 laps into this race. 13 laps into this race. Quite fascinating to see. With annual retirement, Seisman in the number 62 car, he's retired with suspension damage, so I'm guessing he had a pretty big crash somewhere along the line, and that's why he is having those issues. So real shame for him to be another retirement. So 19 left now, the 21 starters. So still looking pretty good as Sherwin has made the move on James Wilson in the hairpin. But Wilson, oh boy, that was close. Wilson gets a bit tailing on the exit and nearly collides with Bacchio. Bacchio manages to avoid the contact, and I think he's made that move stick for third. He has, yeah, there you go. So great stuff from those two to avoid a crash, because that was very, very, very close indeed from James there. He just got a little bit taily as he tried to get the power down and nearly caused him with a crash there, but they all managed to get through in the end. And so he now goes from second to fourth in one corner, just showing how quickly you can drop down in these cars. So Sherwin in second spot now, ahead of Charles Bacchio. So Sherwin a net gain in the end from all of that. And again, James Wilson now drops to fourth, and now he's got Tobias Verona for company. So keep that in mind. Also keep in mind, Luke Walsh is actually managing to catch on to this, as is Evan Spall and Tal Seagal. So all these guys are sort of cascading into each other. Charles Bacchio has a look down in the final corner. Will he make the move stick on Sherwin? I think he might. Down the inside he has. Yeah, look at that. Sherwin just giving him plenty of space. Get the move done. And he does get it done. So great stuff there from Bacchio. Again, looking like he's got some pretty good race pace right now as he gets the move done on Sherwin. And again, Sherwin, plenty of room there. Very respectful racing. Look at this. Wilson now getting passed by Rona as well into turn one. So Tobias now gets through on James. Into turn one, but will James try the same move he did on Sherwin? He tries, but Tobias is aware and he's kept the position. So it's all getting very interesting right now. We've got a lot of switching position right now as Bacchio's through now on Sherwin and Tobias is through on James. And James is probably going to form the clutch of the guy behind pretty soon. Look at this, Luke Walsh and Evan Spall are very close. Luke going defensive down to the hairpin. I think Luke's going to, is he going to try him on the outside? Oh, that was so close to contact. Oh, and Evan has a half spin. That's going to give Tyler Segal a chance of getting through, and he does. So Tyler gets through into 7th spot. Evan drops to 8th now in that car. That was a bit of an awkward moment. It's still side by side, actually. This is still going at it as they go through the middle sector of the track. He's going to try to hold it around the outside. Surely not. He won't on the dirty stuff. And he's still there. Finally, Tyler gets the move done on Evan there. That was great racing from those two. I was going to say, if Evan managed to get that move done on the dirty stuff, that would have been a really impressive move from him. But either way, that was a very, very interesting moment there. Luke Walsh and Evan Spall nearly having a moment. I suspect, yeah, that was very close, very close. It was a little bit heart and mouth, got to say, as they went to the hairpin there, as it was nearly a bit of an interesting crash. But either way, it's still Frederick leading by a good 17 seconds or so in that car. Great stuff from him to be leading by that much. So great stuff from Frederick. Charles Bacchio again is still in 2nd spot. We actually managed to match Frederick in that final sector. That is interesting to see. I wonder if he can maybe claw in that gap. It would be pretty impressive if he can, as Evan Spall is in the lane. That is interesting. So he's already in on lap 14 for a pit stop. Sorry, lap 15 technically for a pit stop. So, something to note. Is that scheduled or is that damage? Actually, I reckon it's scheduled because look at this. Tapio's in as well in the Arnon car. So he's also into the lane. So it looks like we've got the pit phase already beginning. We're only 15 laps in, so interesting. So if that is how that's going, you may be looking at 3 or 4 stops here in this race, which is quite fascinating. Again, we'll be watching how this all goes. Again, it's a bit similar to F1 in that sense. You've got 2 different tyre compounds you've got to play with. Obviously, the longer, more durable white wall tyre, and then the softer but faster red wall tyre that you've got to use during these races, or can use during these races. So it's going to be fascinating to see how that all goes. Who is that off the track? Is that Andrew Harper? It is. Andrew Harper is off the track in 19th spot. He's off at the hairpin and he isn't moving. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Is engine stalled? I think his engine stalled. Oh, no, he's got it going. Okay, no, he's still going. All right, I thought, I was a little bit confused there. I thought he stalled his engine, but I think he was just waiting for a gap to rejoin in. So he's at the back of the field. Just struggling a bit to, I think, get the hang of this car, but he is still going, which is the main thing. So he continues on at the back of the field, but either way, we'll keep an eye on this battle of the top few, because look at this, Sherwin is... Oop, okay, so it looks like Sherwin has got a warning for cutting, I believe, is what I just heard from the live stewarding there. So looks like Sherwin just being a little bit liberal with the track limits from what I can gather. But we will see how that all goes. Look at this, Tobias Rona on the inside of turn 1, and he gets it done. Very nice move, very simple, very clean pass from Tobias there, just straight down the inside. And he's also now clear of Sherwin as James Wilson is still going along there. Tulsagal has got past Luke Walsh, by the way, in that battle for 6 spots. He's through, but Luke Walsh is again having a look into that left-hander. I'm just waiting for contact to happen there. It's just so easy to have a bit of overlap and then you've got contact. But look at this, Luke Walsh around the outside of the hairpin as they go flying down this straight here towards the hairpin. Surely won't make it stick as they go into the hairpin. Hull breaks later. Oh, he nearly loses it there. Gets a little bit of a slide through the mid-corner, but he's able to hold. And Tull gets that 6th spot, and I think that might be done and dusted, though. Luke's got a really nice run towards the right-hander. He has a look down the inside with the right-hander, but that Tull just breaks later, and he's able to keep that position. And I think he's now sealed that 6th spot, and he should be able to start gapping Luke Walsh. So I think he's got better pace than him there. And I think Tapio pitted twice. That's interesting. So that's the Arnon entry. I think he's pitted twice because I'm sure he pitted last lap and he's in it again. That is interesting. So a little bit of an awkward one there for Tapio. I don't know if he had a bit of a glitch with the pit stops or if he or it didn't change tyres or what happened there, but it looks like he's had a bit of a slow stop or something like that, because he's now dropped down to 14th. As Alex Di Antonio is in the wall. Oh no, 13th spot through the back straight. He's got no rear wing. I'll see if I can go back and find where that happened. It looks like at the start of the track. Yeah. Oh, okay. At the first corner by the looks of it. Yeah. No, not even that. Wow, where did he lose it? I'm trying to find out. All the way to the last corner. Oh dear, poor Alex there. Just went too far, a bit too early on the gas, touched the wall, and he's gone flying into the pit entry wall there on the inside. And so he's now having to limp a whole lap around with no rear wing. That is a big blow to Alex. He's going to fall a long way down the order. Is Didi Antonio. A real shame for him in that car. I think he was going along quite nicely in the midfield there, so it's a bit of a shame for him. He should, assuming they can repair that rear wing, he should be able to keep going, but he's going to drop a long way down the field, so it's a real shame for him. But either way, still Frederick leading at the moment, 18 seconds clear of Charles Bacchio, so Charles is again still not able to keep the pace with him. He's just got so much pace, Frederick, in these cars. He must have them absolutely tuned to a T to be able to lead by this much. Just really impressive stuff from him. As the leading bunch there just pass Alex as he tries to limp around the circuit. But look at this, Tobias Rona is catching. That is worth noting. Tobias Rona is catching Bacchio here, and we might have a nice little battle developing for second spot in the very near future. So it looks like as they go down the back straight, I think Tobias may possibly have a half look. We'll see. The slipstream is pretty powerful. Pretty powerful from these cars, as the live stewarding there just reminding everyone to be careful in the third sector, because Alex is trying to limp around without a rear wing. But it looks like Tobias actually gets a bit of a tardy run through that final corner. I think we went a bit too deep into the final section. Just giving Charles a bit of a breather now. He's got about a second back to Tobias, and that's Sherwin's still there. He's still about a second off Tobias, and he's still in that battle, so don't count him out by any stretch of the imagination. James Wilson, he's also still there. He's only about a second behind Sherwin. And then you've got about a 4-second gap back to Tal Segal, and he's still got Luke Walsh Luke Walsh behind him. Campbell Wallace, is the next man in line in 8th spot. He's a bit further back. Again, he's on the harder compound tyre, the white wall tyre. So keep that in mind with him. That's probably why he is dropping back a bit from those guys. We've actually got a nice little battle going for 10th right now. Matthew Beavis, who's been charging back through the field in that car. He's having a look at Halili in 10th spot, the number 22 entry, so there's a bit of a battle going on there. They've also got Evan Spall not far ahead of him, ahead of them, and I think he's pitted recently, which is why he's back in 9th spot. Although Beavis gets a bit of a bad run through the left hand there, and he drops behind Halili, but we'll keep an eye on that one, as that is a battle worth noting. So it's all a bit line astern at the moment, as Alex has made it to the pit lane, so he's now in the lane. We'll see if that repairs. I'm not entirely sure whether they actually can repair that rear wing. We'll see. We'll soon find out whether he's able to get back out and continue, as Frederick now pits. The leader is in. He now pits for his first stop of the race, 19 laps into the race. And we'll see what tyre he goes on, because I'm interested to see. Is he going to stick with the red? It looks like he's probably going to stick with the red wall tyre. It's the faster tyre. And there you go. He's done with his tyres. Now he goes. So he's done with the pit stop. He's going to rejoin as Tobias Rona also pits. I think he's going to rejoin in about 5th spot, I would say. 5th or 6th. He's going to rejoin around about where Luke Walsh is on circuit. So it's interesting to see. Yeah, he's going to rejoin. You'll find Luke Walsh in 6th spot, but again, effective lead when all the pit stops sort themselves out. Tobias Rona also into the lane, and Alex has been able to repair that rear wing, so he continues on now in that car at the back of the field, though, so he's at 19th, last of the running cars there. So yeah, it's a bit of an interesting start to this race. Got quite a few spins, a few incidents. But already had a full course yellow after one lap, as Matthew Beavers pits as well from 11th. So they've already had a full course yellow. They've already had some spins, already had some incidents, and some battles and all sorts of stuff going on. So it's already been, I'd say, quite an action-packed start to the series. I think we've had a good little selection of battles to start it off, so hopefully we'll continue as the race goes on. It's interesting to see, though, that we've got a little bit of traffic in amongst the guys at the top end of the field. Tal's got Matthew Lumpson behind him, so there's a few lap traffic cars in amongst those leaders, so that's interesting to see how lap traffic's already being a bit of an issue, although again a few of these guys have pitted and some haven't, so that's something to note as well. Got some different strategies playing out. So that's worth noting. I suspect, I wouldn't be surprised if the likes of pretty much everyone who hasn't stopped now might be able to do a two-stop is what I'm thinking. I wonder if they're going to go red with the red sidewall tyre, then go the red sidewall tyre again, and then go the white to go to the end. I wonder if that's the strategy. We'll see. I'm just guessing here. Again, I'm not a strategic expert when it comes to these IndyCars, but that would be my guess as to what they're planning. That would make sense with the way the strategy is playing out right now. We will see as the race goes on. Either way, it's all very interesting right now. Again, it's all a bit line astern right now as everyone's just trying to negotiate some lap traffic and the like. Fredericks just catching on the back of Luke Walsh. You'd think he should be able to pretty easily get past him there, as again, he's got such a massive pace advantage, especially when he's on fresh tyres as well, and Luke's on worn tyres, so keep that in mind as well. But yeah, looking, as I was saying before, looking pretty good for SimTech right now. They're looking like they might well be on point to get possibly a double top 10, which would be good for their the team's championship, which is obviously just as a fiercely fought fight as the drivers' championship. Keeping that in mind. So we'll see how that all goes, but that would be very good for SimTech. I'm sure they'll be very happy with a double top 10. That'd be really nice points for them. Again, Sherman's looking quite nice at the moment. And as I said, Luke Walsh has actually seemed to show quite promising race pace, which is always quite handy. So very interesting to note as we go along here. See what Charles does this lap is he's now just coming on the back straight. He's got 3-second gap back to Sherwin, so he managed to get that gap out to Sherwin quite nicely as that pace is showing through. Very pretty car too that Charles has got. They do like that yellow with the bits of black through it. It's a very nice, very pretty in car that he's got on display. We'll see if he pits. Is he going to pit? Looks like he might. Is he? No, he's not. Okay, he's going to keep going. What we might do is we'll go for a lap with Charles Bacchio around this Sebring International Circuit. He just goes into turn 1 now. I'll just go a little bit quiet now and let you guys enjoy the sounds of these mighty Indy cars. Alright, so there was a lap around the Sebring circuit on board with Charles Bacchio. Thought I'd let you guys have a little look at what the view is like for these guys. And we've had, looks like this is the pit strategy phase. As Bacchio pits, Sherwin's pitted as well. Keeping in mind, Tobias Rona, James Wilson, Tal, and Luke all pitted on the lap previous as well. So it looks like this is the time to pit. Coincides with the strategy I'm assuming they're going for. I suspect the strategy is a two-stop, would be my guess. If they're pitting around now, they're probably going to go onto the red sidewall again. And then I'd suspect that they'll do the last stint on the white sidewall, I'm guessing. Or maybe the red one again. We will see as this all plays out. But it looks like most of the field is pitted or is pitting. Campbell Wallace also pitting as well. So he's into the lane now from, I believe, 7th spot. So he pits as well. I think most of the field has done at least one stop now. I think there's only probably 1 or 2 guys who are yet to stop. So order's pretty much ironed itself back out again. I think we're all good. Evan Spall, by the way, is looking pretty promising to possibly have a go at James Wilson in the near future. That is a battle that is going along quite nicely at the moment. It's a battle for 5th spot. James Wilson in his in his hover car for me. Again, for some reason, I think there's been a glitch with his car, because for me, all I can see is the chassis, which is a little bit awkward. Literally looks like he's got some kind of a hover car going around the circuit, so that's a bit weird for me to see. But either way, he's holding on to 5th at the moment. Again, Evan Spall looking quite nice. And again, Tulsa Seagull's not far behind that. And Luke Walsh now dropped to 8th spot in the order. And I think he is looking pretty good in that position. He's got a good 20 seconds or so back to Martin Vindus, who's the next man in line in 9th spot. And then Campbell Wallace is 10th now. And I think we've only got 14 guys left in the lead lap. Ali Ferry, by the way, in 14th now. Although, again, I'm not sure what the strategy for Ali is. I'm not entirely sure. As, again, they had to obviously stop earlier on for the damage after the safety car. So that is going to be interesting to see where Ali finishes, because I think they'll be out of sync, out of sync on the pit strategy front. And yes, James doesn't need wheels. He just has that much cool factor that wheels don't need to be considered for him. And Sherwin is pitting again. That is interesting. He's in from 3rd. He's dropped to 8th now. And remember he pitted last lap. I think he had a drive-through. Wow, that is interesting. Wow, okay. He's going to rejoin in 8th spot, but that is really fascinating. I think, judging from how he didn't stop, he just went through the lane. I reckon he had a drive-through penalty. That is really interesting. So there goes Link Sherwin. Must have been a little bit cheeky on the pit speed limiter, and he's paid the price, unfortunately. So that's a real shame for him. As he now drops down to 8th spot effective. Martin Vindus is also in the lane, pitting as well. Andrew Harper also pitting. So a few pit stops occurring as we enter the sort of the 3rd race distance now. Yeah, and again, no more safety cars. Only had the one on the first lap, which was for Ryan Reed's crash on the opening lap, which also caught Alex Di Antonio as well, as people now just exiting the lane, and they're all going good. At the moment, the battles further back have ironed out. Bacchio's managed to clear Tobias Rona, who's managed to clear James Wilson, who's actually managed to gap Evan Spall again. So it looks like Evan's pace not quite up to scratch with James. Tal is also a good few seconds back. They're all about 2 or 3 seconds between the guys from 2nd all the way down to about sort of 7th, 8th. They're all pretty closely matched. We've got a little bit of battle developing though. Campbell Wallace is actually on the pump from Halili at the moment. That's developed a 9th spot. That's probably your closest battle in the field at the moment. As we go along here towards the halfway mark, I think, and they've also got lap traffic as well. Who is that? That is Norman Bruce, who's in front of them. So he's going to probably want to get out of the way relatively sharpish, because this is a fight for position. So we'll see how they go. Yep, he gets out of the way of Campbell. Ooh, a little bit awkward there. He just was on the apex for Halili, so Halili had to sort of put the brakes on a little bit there. So a little bit awkward for those two. They managed to get through without contact, which is the main thing. But yeah, Campbell, actually this really helped Campbell out, because he now has a nice little buffer over those two guys in that battle. So there you go. So yeah, all looking pretty solid at the moment for these guys, though I do suspect Campbell will come under the pump again from Halili soon. So I think Halili's got a little bit better pace in the number 22 entry. Again, pretty nice livery there, pretty colour matching there, the red and white, not anything too technical or outrageous, but just does the job quite nicely. There, see Campbell having to go very defensive there as he defends Knight's spot. A bit of an awkward run through the first section, and now this, it's a bit of a drag race down towards the hairpin. Halili's going to have a look on the inside. Is he? He's got a good run. He'll have a dive. Will he? Not quite. No, not quite confident enough to have a look. And he holds back for the moment, although it looks to me like Campbell got a really bit of a tardy run through the hairpin. Excuse me. That's going to give Halili a chance to possibly fight him for this 9th spot. We'll keep an eye on it as they go towards the right-hander here. It looks to me like Campbell's going to hold for the moment, but that battle looks like it's going to be developing quite lovingly, if that's a word, as we head towards the middle phase of this race. 25 laps complete, well technically 25 laps completed of the 62, sorry. So looking quite nice at the moment for Frederick. You've got to say 29 seconds to clear of Charles Bacchio. That's just showing how much pace he has. It's just ridiculous pace for Frederick. Just so fast, it would appear, in these cars. Just has it set up to a T. That he's just able to extract so much pace from it. Really is quite impressive indeed. From him, is that? No, it's not okay. There's like traffic, don't worry. Again, yep, this battle for 9th 8th, 9th and 10th appears to be one of the closer ones on track at the moment. Second and third are closing a little bit. I think Tobias is just slowly reeling in Charles, so that might be a battle that will commence pretty soon. But for the moment, it's looking to me like it's pretty stationary for the time being anyway, as we go along now. But yeah, look at this Campbell back into the pump again from Hilili. Hilili's managed to close the gap once again as they continue on. I don't see Campbell holding this for too much longer. I think his pace isn't quite up to par with Hilili's. He goes wide, a little bit wider again. That's interesting. He gets a bit of a wider line for the hairpin. I'm not sure if he's running it too deep or if that's his general line, but it does appear to cost him a little bit on the exit. And this might give Hilili a chance to have a look, but he doesn't. Not quite close enough to do that just yet. But I wouldn't be surprised if he is able to have a crack soon, because he's definitely looking like he's got a substantial pace advantage. And speaking of pace advantage, look at this. Tobias Rona is now under a second from Charles Bacchio, so that battle has actually begun, but it looks a little bit quicker than I was expecting. So it looks like Tobias starting to show some of that pace advantage that I think we showed he had in qualifying. Catching up with Charles now for that battle for second spot. 30 seconds, by the way, for Frederick. He just keeps opening that gap and opening that gap and opening that gap. So expect Frederick to sort of be out in a will of his own as this race develops. Although, again, safety car, keeping in mind, safety car could change that in an instant. So you're going to remember that with this race. Again, with live stewarding, the safety car is a thing. So if there is a major crash somewhere on the line, that could all change soon. I see Hilili has made the move on Campbell Wallace, so good stuff there from Hilili. He gets through, and he's already cleared him by about a second already, so that was clear. He had a quite clear pace advantage there. So nice spot for him. He's got a good 20 seconds, so up to Sherwin in 8th, so we'll see if he has the pace to catch him, but he's going to have a pretty substantial pace advantage to be able to catch up to Sherwin, so he's probably 9th, barring retirements or a safety car, probably 9th is where he'll be aiming. He has a big lock up into the hairpin there, but it holds for the moment. Ali Ferry in the lane again, by the way, stopping, I think it's the 3rd stop or 4th stop Ali's had, so a lot of stops for the number 35 car, and it's costing him pretty substantially on the pace front there. Again, Tobias Rona, though, is catching up slowly to Charles Bacchio. It seems like Charles has, is being all annoying. Seems like Tobias Rona is catching, but I say that, and then he has a bit of a moment with the hairpin and the left hander, as I see Andrew Harper's in the wall, by the way. I just saw it as I was going past, and he's going to have to rejoin, hopefully. Safe rejoin, yeah, rejoins the track nice and safely. Hopefully there won't be any accidents caused there. Okay, yep, looks like everyone's managed to avoid him nicely, so that's good stuff. But yes, Charles Bacchio looking like he's actually responding, if anything, to the pace of Tobias Rona, so that's interesting to see as they go along. Again, that gap, 31 seconds, nearly 32 seconds now, that Frederick's got over second spot. Yeah, very interesting first round, got to say. So far, Frederick's definitely stamping his authority. You could say at the very least, leading by 32 seconds. But yeah, there's some very interesting battles. Pretty much seconds through to the back end of the 10. They've all seem quite similarly paced there. As I've noticed, Luke Walsh has actually managed to get back past Tal Siegel again. So he's back on the 6th spot. And again, that's quite fascinating to watch that Luke Walsh has this pace, because again, he qualified something like 18th or 19th, and it's looking like he actually has pretty solid race pace. He's been doing for the last bunch of laps, he's been doing sort of 39 40s, so looking like his pacing in the race has been quite nice. But look at this, Tal's on the back of him as they go down towards turn 1. Luke going defensive, and it looks like, oh, there's contact, there's a spin, oh, big spin, oh, into the wall, Luke Walsh into the wall, as is Tal Siegel. I could see that coming as they enter the corner. I could just tell that there was going to be contact, so big shame, those two. That was such a shame when the battle ends wrongly. Oh, and Luke spun it again as he's trying to limp around without a rear wing, and I don't think he has a front wing now. No, he does still have a front wing. That's a real shame for those two. So real shame for those guys there as they're in the top 10. So Luke's going to have to limp around without a rear wing now, so he's going to lose a bunch of time as he limps around. Thankfully, he's got a pretty big gap back to 9th and 10th and beyond, but that is a real shame for those two. Big battle as well now for 11th spot. It's Tapio and Matthew Beavis. They're battling over 11th spot. Looks like Tapio is going to get it, and Beavis drops back down to 12th spot. So there's a little bit of battle in the midfield. But yeah, real shame for Luke Walsh. And for Talsico, I could just tell that was going to happen. It looked to me like, yeah, I think Luke was not really expecting Tal to make that move, and then unfortunately, just by the time he realised what was going on, it was a bit too late. So, yeah, there you go. So just one of those things, I suspect. Oh, full course yellow. Whoa, okay, so we've got a full course yellow in 10 seconds. So there you go. That's going to make things interesting. There we go, full course yellow in force. There you go. Wow. There you go. Wow, what a bit of a spanner thrown into the works. So the crash there from Tal and Luke has thrown a full course yellow into the mix. And so now the whole field having to limp go around at speed limit, pit lane speed limit of speeds. That's why they're going to crawl around now at slow speeds so that we don't have any instance, of course, as everyone. All right, that is interesting. So big moments here in this race as we've gone along. So big fascinating crash there from those two. As I said, it was into the first corner, Luke Walsh and Tal battling for position. And unfortunately, I had a little bit of a contact moment. They both winged the wall, and Luke's the one who's really been worse off in the end as he's got no rear wing. Tal only has no front wing. So there you go. So yeah, that was quite the interesting moment from those two as they went along. So this could trigger some pit stops again. As I said, with the safety car, this could trigger some differing strategies, as maybe people might try and grab this chance, get this chance to get a free pit stop in without losing track position. So Sherwin's taken that chance. He's pitting now, as he won't actually lose a position on track. So he's pitted. He's now exiting the lane. Tal obviously pitting for the damage. Alex DiTomanic Antonio is in the lane as well. He's pitting. There you go. Yep. So just confirming that. So yeah. So there you go. So people obviously allowed to pit under the safety car under the full course yellow. There's no restriction on that, so they can pit if they feel they want to. So I would expect we would see a whole bunch of drivers probably pitting now to take the chance to grab this full course yellow and get a free pit stop, which is effectively going to help them out in the race. So, there you go. It just shows you've got to really be aware of what's going on, because it all can change in a heartbeat. Luke Walsh has made it back to pit lane. He's now in the lane getting that rear wing repaired. Halili has passed lane. He hasn't stopped, so he's staying out. Not taking the chance to get a pit stop. Wallace is staying out. So, yep, Tapio is going in, so he's taking the chance to get a free pit stop. Will Beavers pit? Yep, Beavers pits as well. So this is interesting. So I've got a few guys who are not taking the chance to pit, and I wonder, will that either help them, or will that either be an advantage or a disadvantage as this race goes on? We'll find out. We will see as we go through this race. We're pretty much just about on the halfway mark as Frederick is in. So Frederick pits from the lead, but he's that far ahead right now that he could just that he can pit pretty easily, and he won't have any disadvantage at all. So is a nice little thing for Frederick. So he's going to pit now, and he will be miles ahead of everyone else in the field. So he's going to exit just now, and so he gets a free pit stop effectively out of that. So it's great for him. We'll see if anyone else does take the chance, but Matthew B was just exiting behind him. Luke Walsh still in the lane, still getting repaired, dropped to 12th now. So real shame for Luke as he drops further down the field. Martin Vindus is not pitting, so he should pass Luke Walsh. So Luke should drop to 13th. Let's have a look. Doesn't look like anyone else is pitting just yet as we go along. Yep, so we're just trying to sort out the safety car now. Matthias is now in the safety car, as Lorenzo, unfortunately, I think had a disconnection as he was doing the safety car, because as we know with sim racing, it's always perfectly timed when it comes to disconnections. So Matthias is now in the safety car as he leads Frederick now. He's picked up the leader, so Frederick behind the safety car now, I think. There we go. So pit limiter not in force, as everyone can now catch up to the safety car. So I suspect we'll probably have 1 or 2 laps of full course yellow, because we're going to have to wait for everyone to catch up to the pit line, to the safety car. And the field is pretty spread throughout the track, so I suspect we'll have maybe a lap or 2 of safety cars, what I'm going to guess, but we will see. But either way, it's going to be very interesting to see how this all goes. So Frederick again maintains the lead, also got a free pit stop out of that, so that's really nice for him. Yeah, there you go. So, and the lucky dog rule is in effect as well. A little rule that's a bit special to IndyCars and the like, and to oval racing. So I believe, so Lily's, oh no, Lily's DNF'd. Oh dear, what has happened there? Is there a disconnection? Let's have a look. Oh, wow. That's interesting. So I just saw there, what has happened there? Is he stalled? I think he stalled. Yeah, he's stalled, hasn't he? I think so. Halili has spun out of, what's happened there? He's just gone wide through one of the right-handers there. Must have just lost concentration for a brief second. And he's just gone straight to the wall. And I'm guessing he must have stalled it. He's got to have stalled it. It's the only reason I can see why he would retire. Yeah, I reckon he stalled the car. And obviously, one of the things with these cars is I'm fairly sure once they stall, it's either extremely difficult or you can't restart the cars. So he is out of the race. Real shame for Lily, as he was actually fighting the top 10 there with a few incidents for the guys ahead. So real shame for him. And he's now out of the race. So down to 18 cars surviving in this race. We're pretty much bang on the halfway mark in the next lap or 2. So real dramas here. Real dramas. So yeah, a bit of it. I see. I just have a bit of a few comments on the safety car with how far ahead Frederick was. I believe that was called because of the crash at turn 1. I believe would be the reasoning for the safety car. So that would be why it was called. But I mean, at the end of the day, it makes the racing a bit closer. So can't really complain. I don't think, because we're going to get some more close battles as we go for the restart here. So this will be restart 2 of the race. And what is also interesting is how many lap cars are between Frederick and Charles. There's literally 4 lap cars between first and second. That's just how far ahead Frederick was in that battle. James Wilson's also got, I believe he's got Lubson between himself and Evan Spall, so that's going to help him off the restart. So I've only got the first sort of half of the field quite up the safety car. Still got quite a few, still got about sort of 3 or 4 cars who are waiting to catch up the safety car. So we're just waiting on them to catch up, and then we should go green. I would expect that we would probably, hopefully go green at the end of this lap. If not at the end of this lap, we'll only probably have 1 more lap of safety car running, I would expect, until we go back to green flag. And as I said, with Frederick leading, Frederick Skornstein leading the field off, as he's just been dominating this race so far. Again, just showing that insane pace he's got in that number 13 car. Really got the car set up absolutely beautifully, as he's so far ahead of everyone in terms of pace. So quite impressive to see. But he'll lead them off. Charles Bacchio, again, is in second. But as you can see, he's got 4 lapped cars between himself and Frederick. So that's something to keep in mind as they go along. I think we're nearly caught up. We've only got about 3 more guys who are yet to catch up to the safety car. So they will catch up now. They're just trying to get around the track now to catch up to the safety car. Hopefully they should be about caught up, or they're probably, no, they'll either just catch up right at the very end of the lap, or they're going to catch up not quite fully in the lap. So I reckon we'll either go green at the end of this lap, or go green the next lap. I would probably say the next lap will be when we go green here. So yeah, there you go. Some real interesting moments here. So a disconnection, a stall, I would expect. I suspect that's what Halili's retirement was. It looked like a stall to me anyway. So real shame for him again, as he was actually fighting amongst the top 10. So it's a real shame for his race. But yeah, Frederick will lead them off as the safety car leads them around. Again, I think we will go green at the end of the next lap, I would expect. We will see. I've actually got 4 guys yet to catch up with the safety cars. They're all catching up now. Let's have a look. They're just catching up now. They're just on the back straight. I don't think we'll go green this lap, though. I think we need them to all be behind the safety car for them to go green. So I don't think we will go green just yet. I reckon we'll have 1 more lap, and then we'll probably go back to green flag racing. As we, I think, have just ticked over the halfway. We have. So just ticked over halfway through this race. And yeah, it's been quite fascinating already. We've had some great battles, especially in the top. There we go. So the safety car will be in at the end of this lap. The live stewarding, just confirming that now. Again, we've got Lorenzo Bonda and Matias Machado doing the live stewarding for this race. So again, something new, something a bit different from what we're used to here at Race Department, with the live safety car and the live stewarding going on, which is definitely adding a bit of spice to this series. That is for sure. So we are all clear to go, I think. We're just waiting again on this lap to be completed behind the safety car, and we'll be back to green flag racing as the whole field has caught up to the safety car. The whole field, the remaining 18 cars in this field. And yeah, it should be interesting to see how this all goes. Hopefully the lap cars will not make it too hard for the lead lap guys to get past them. It's always a bit awkward trying to sort that out. But yeah, real interesting to see. And also interesting, I only just realised this now, is that Luke Walsh was actually only one position away from getting the lucky dog and unlapping himself. So Matthew Beavis has gotten quite, has indeed been the lucky dog, and he's unlapped himself. So he's at the very back of the queue in 10th spot overall, and he's actually got 9th and 8th directly ahead of him. So that could be interesting to see how that all goes. But yeah, poor Luke Walsh was one position away from getting the lucky dog. So he is now down a lap. So that is a real blow to him. So not only did he get involved in the turn 1 crash, he also is a lap down. So that's going to really hurt him. So he's probably going to have to hope for another safety car and hope he's still the lead lap car down to get the lucky dog, or else he's pretty much stuck in that position for him. All right, so we're just about to go back to green flag racing. Interesting. So we're going for a single file restart here. I believe that's probably because it's not after the first lap, because the other one was after the first lap. We went for a side-by-side restart. But for this one, it's single file. So single file restart here is just past the halfway mark. So halfway through this race, another half to go, another 30 laps or so of racing to come your way here at Race Department. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show so far. But still plenty of racing to come, and I suspect that we're going to have some very interesting battles here, as they're all nice and tight now as we go for the restart. So Frederick leading them around. We're waiting on the live stewarding call to go green once again. Okay, there we go. So just waiting on the call from the live stewarding. And there you go, green flag racing once again. So off we go. Frederick leads them away as we go for the green flag. And it looks like, let's have a look, Bacchio is already trying to get through the first of the lap traffic. He's already dealt with one of them, has he? And look at that, James Wilson is right behind him as well as they go through the first corner of this lap traffic. Remember, this lap traffic, as I said, is in amongst all this. So this is really, oh, big crash. Oh no, James Wilson and Charles Bacchio have come together. Oh, it's all very awkward as everyone tries to join. Again, that is really a big shame for those guys. Oh, I'm called again, so we're going for another full course yellow after that. I'll see if I can pick what happened here. And it looks, oh boy, yeah. And there you go, full course again after that crash with James Wilson and Charles Bacchio. So just having a look now what happened there. It looks to me like Charles has broken quite early for the corner, and James just was not ready at all for how early Charles broke. And unfortunately, he just had nowhere to go, didn't have enough time to react, and they've just gone straight into each other. And that is how that all happened. So big moment. I think actually someone else, I think it might have been Charles Segal, has also spun as well. So he was in the wall and he's like, oh, and lost his front wing. So all sorts of shenaniganry there on the opening lap. And what that has done is that's handed second to Tobias Rona. So he now inherits second spot in this race, as Davey got a lovely shot of that crash there. Great stuff from our cameraman. Again, Davey Van der Ven on the cameras, as we've become used to. Again, fantastic work from him. I can see you got a lovely shot there of the field as they all just sort of collide into each other into that corner. So great stuff from Davey. But yeah, so what that has done is that it has put Tobias Rona in second spot now. Sherman's now back up in third after all that, so he's going to be loving this. Evan Spall all of a sudden is in fourth, so he'll be very happy. Campbell Wallace, keeping in mind he was down in, 8th or 9th, not a good sort of 10 laps ago. He's now in 5th spot. Tapio is in 6th, so he's gained as well out of this. James Wilson drops to 7th. Charles Bacchio drops to 8th. Tarl's now in 9th, but he has no front wing, so he's going to have to pit. So real shame for him. Matthew Beavis got the lucky dog, Keith Monson. He got the lucky dog. He was on the lead lap. He's got no rear wings, so he's going to have to pit as well. And he's going to drop a bunch of times, so real shame for him. Luke and everyone else, I believe, stays relatively the same. No actual retirements from that, unbelievably. All we have is just everyone having some instance. So people have lost lost a few wings, got a few little dents in their car, but no actual retirements, which is really good to see. So we've still got the same 18 cars in the race. That's really nice to see. And you know, as I was saying before about Luke Walsh, all he had to do was stay the lead lap car. He now has the lucky dog. Very happy scenes for Luke Walsh. He's now going to be the lucky dog, so he's going to get back the lead lap. And so he could very well start making some progress again. So I think he'll be very happy with that indeed, as he said in the chats. Very good stuff for Luke. There you go. Wow, what drama driver. And it's interesting because this does go with the saying, doesn't it? Really, it's the old saying is safety cars breed safety cars. I know when we've here in Australia in the V8s, that's been said quite a lot by the commentators, and it is very true. It is. All the times you'll find that the biggest breeder of crashes is a safety car. So, unfortunately for these guys, that is what has happened, as Tobias Rowan actually pits now from second spot, so that's interesting. Domenico Antonio's in again. I swear he just pitted about 5 or 6 laps ago, so he's in once more. So a lot of pit stops for Alex. I don't know if that's for damage or if that's a scheduled stop. There we go. So field catch is now able to catch up to the safety car. There's a whole bunch of obviously pit for damage and the like. Towel's in for damage. Matthew Beavis is in for damage. It looks like Andrew Harber's actually in for a scheduled stop, I'm guessing, judging from the fact he doesn't have any bits missing from his car. But Tobias Rona obviously taking that pit stop, so he now drops to 8th spot in the order, and he'll pretty much be right at the very back of the queue. So obviously deciding that now is the time to take a free pit stop, probably a good idea because of the safety car. You may as well take a free stop while you can. But yeah, wow, what a what a drama middle phase of the race we have now. So this will be restart number 3 of the race. So quite a few safety cars here at Sebring. So yeah, very fascinating stuff indeed. I hope you guys are enjoying the show so far. I'm doing the best I can to do a good show for you guys. Again, doing this one solo, unfortunately. I hope you don't mind. I hope you guys are enjoying the solo act, so to speak. Plenty of the tinge of Down Under in this one, that's for sure. So all the Down Under power in this broadcast. Again, though, big thanks out to... Ooh, okay, so it looks like... I think James is actually under investigation by the sounds of it. Live Stewart's there just putting that out on the TeamSpeak. Looks like James is actually under investigation for that contact with Charles. So that is one that could be interesting. I wonder if he may get penalised on the go. We'll see. But either way, fascinating stuff indeed. Yeah, I was just going to... What was I saying? I've lost my train of thought. Damn it. That's right. I was just going to say in the chat, this is R Factor 2. Yes, that's what this is. So it's R Factor 2, not R Factor 1. So... Indeed, yes. Pace car wins this race, really. The real winner is the safety car. But I mean, you know, not surprising. It's a Corvette, though. Deserves to win. Yeah. Yes. No, it's R Factor 2 for this series. For the one who asked in the chat, MB944. Just coding that one for you. But yes. No, as Matthew Beavis, by the way, is still in the lane. He's actually getting lapped. Let's have a look. Frederick's just coming through, and I reckon, unless Beavis can get a very quick exit, I think he's actually going to go down a lap. So his rear wing is repaired. Can he beat them out? I don't think he can. Can he? Oh, I don't think he'll be able to beat them out. He won't. Oh, damn. Poor Matthew. He's going to pop out right behind the leader. So he now goes down a lap. That is a real shame. So he gets lucky dog, gets unlapped, and it was actually, I think, was that... Okay, yeah, okay, there you go. So letting Matthew, by looks of it, unlap himself. There you go. So he doesn't actually go down a lap. That's probably a fair call to be fair, because he was, I think, just exiting as the leader passed. So that's interesting call, but there you go. Yeah, I have to agree with the chat. Pace Department is a very fitting name. It's a very nice name indeed. Representing them safety cars. Someone's got to represent them, let's be honest. So very fitting. Very good to see some respect from some showing for the safety cars. You got to show the safety cars. We respect them. They're doing their job. They, where would we be without pace cars? So we've got to keep that in mind. But either way, I think I would say we'll probably go green at the end of this lap. I would say it depends how quickly Beavis can get around the track and catch back up at the end of the train. But I would say we'll probably go green at the end of this lap. I would say so. Yeah, very fascinating stuff. Very fascinating stuff. And once again, as we go to restart here, Frederick has 3 cars between himself and Sherwin, lap cars. So Frederick can just kind of cruise off the line. He's got all these lap cars to help him kind of block second spot. So handy stuff indeed for Frederick. Keeping in mind as well in all this, so that crash and the second restart, then Spore all of a sudden was in 3rd spot. Keeping in mind again, he was down in like 6th or 7th earlier on, so he's suddenly in the podium. So he's sitting there licking his lips in delight. Campbell Wallace, again, keeping in mind he was down in 9th or 10th, he's in 4th. So he's just sitting there going, thank you very much for all the accidents, guys. I'm now nearly on the podium, so that's great for him. Tapio as well, he's 5th, so he's gained a whole bunch from this as well. So interesting to see. There's a few drivers here have gained big time from the misfortunes of the guys ahead of them. So they're now gained on position, and I think we're just waiting on Beavis to come around the circuit. I assume we will have to wait for him. I mean, we have to wait, obviously, for every car to catch the safety car. You can't just go when no one else is there. I think we're going to probably wait for Beavis, I would assume. So I reckon we'll have one more lap behind the safety car. And then we will probably go green, I would say, next lap by would be my guess. Because we can't just leave Beavis out there hanging in the dry, can we? That would just be a real shame indeed. So yeah, it's just trying to get through this safety car period in the first round. Obviously, this is your Sebring of the IndyCar World Series here at Race Department. Again, a very brand new series we're running here, something a little bit different from the style of racing we tend to run here at Race Department in the league side of things. Good change-up, I think, from the touring cars, I've got to be honest. It's a really good series they were, but I was kind of getting a little bit sick of the old Marcus and V8s. Good to get some open wheel action into the mix, especially the American IndyCar version. Very unique cars indeed. As just getting the confirmation from the live stewarding, there will be safety car in this lap, so that confirms what I was expecting to be the call, as Beavis has, I believe, caught up to the back of the queue. So he's now on the back of that queue. Luke Walsh also, by the way, getting a pit stop done as well. Not a bad call, to be fair, because he was in 10th anyway, so he was already at the back of the queue regardless, so he may as well take the free pit stop. And that's what I think he was thinking there. So he gets a free stop out of that safety car. And so he'll pop back out in 11th spot. Last car in the lead lap out of the 18 drivers, and he's already back on queue already. So there you go, just shows that he may as well get the free pit stop while he can. Again, one to watch here off a couple to watch off the line. James Wilson, Charles Bacchio, and Tobias Rona. They're all 6th, 7th, 8th, and we know they have the pace to be pretty much 2nd, 3rd, 4th, really, in terms of pace. So they have the pace to be a lot further up than they are. So watch them to be coming through the field here on the restart, and it's going to be interesting to see how this all goes, because we've got some fast guys here in the back end of the pack. They've got some lap cars in between them and the guys ahead, which is going to make things a bit interesting. So I wonder if we... let's hope not. Let's hope this doesn't breed yet another safety car. That would be a real shame if you get a 3 in a row. That would not be terribly nice things for you guys to watch, just seeing the cars trundle around at like 100 k's an hour. So hopefully, for our sake, we'll get some nice... And again, I think single file restart once again, just like last time. So hopefully we'll get some good racing going now, because we've had some we've almost had 10 laps I think now of safety car running. So bit interesting, again, a bit different from what we're used to. It's usually just green throughout the whole thing. With live stewarding, we actually have safety cars here during the races. But yes, hopefully, fingers crossed, we can have some nice running here for the next. Hopefully, we can have some nice racing as we go towards the green. Just down the back straight now, it is pit lane speed limiter for this part, as they let the safety car obviously get back to the pit lane, so they're not running in the safety car off the line for safety reasons. I think I believe they were just the students reminding the lap cars of trying to not get in the way of the leaders, / basically just get out of the way in a safe manner, hopefully, and not hold the field. So at the controller, Frederick Carey is going to lead them through the final corner again. We're going to wait on the live stewarding to give the call for green flag racing. We'll be back underway here at round 1 of the IndyCar World Series here at Race Department at Sebring. It's coming through now, waiting on the call for the green flag. Again, watching out for 6th, 7th, 8th. They're the guys to watch out for here as we ready to go green. And we're green. There we go. We're underway here, and Frederick's actually got a bit of a tardy start. I think the lap car's nearly going to overtake him as they go down towards turn 1 there. So a bit of a tardy start for him. But look at this. James Wilson's already on the back of Tapio there as they go into turn 1. Oh, Tapio having to do a bit of braking. I think Campbell Wallace is a little bit slow through the first corner. But as we go down towards the incident corner of the last restart, looks like... Oh, it's Charles Bacchio and James Wilson very close indeed. But looks like we've managed to get through without any incidents from what I can tell. Yep, look at that. So it looks like we've managed to get through the opening corners without any issue. And look at that, Frederick Schornstein has already gapped the lap cars. Although, who is that in second on the road? That's Martin Vindus. So Martin Vindus, who's that? That is someone off the background. I think it's one of the lap cars. Oh, there's contact to the back. Oh, boys, all sorts of awkward moments going on there. So I think... again, I think Trevor Greenfield's lost his front wing again. I swear he lost it earlier on in the race. He's lost his front wing again. And there's a little bit of a Constantine effect there as he went off and everyone else was trying to dodge him. So a little bit awkward at the back, but everyone's managed to get through without a major incident. So we should be able to avoid a safety car this time round. But either way, it is Frederick leading them away. He's already got 3. He's already in 4 seconds on second spot. Sherwin hasn't actually overtaken the lap cars just yet. He's still catching up to lap cars. And he's actually got Evan Spalled all over the back of him. That's the battle for second spot. Campbell Wallace also has Tapio and James Wilson, Charles Bacchio and Tobias Rona all behind him. So he's got a very nice little battle packs going on here. I reckon the one to watch is going to be Campbell Wallace. He's going to have Tapio right behind as they go towards the left, the right hander. Oh, nearly thinking about 3 wide there. Oh, this is contact. Tapio just hit the rear end of Campbell there, just turning a bit too early and he's in contact. And let's let James Wilson in the 5th spot. Look at this, James Wilson's got a lovely run on Campbell Wallace. They head down towards turn 1. They'll look to the left on the inside lines. They go towards turn 1 and Tapio on the outside. They're going 3 wide. Oh, wow, look at that move from Tapio. He's gone off track. Oh, will he be able to keep it together? He does. Good stuff in the end to not have a crash, but that's let Tobias Rona now in the 6th spot. So all sorts of switching going on here in the back end of in the mid-10 as everyone tries to sort themselves out. But either way, Wilson now in the 4th. Wallace has got to the 5th spot, but look at this, he's got Tobias Rona right behind him. It's Norman Bruce and Trevor Greenfield pit with damage. They're in the lane for damage to their front wings, but either way, Wallace holding for the moment. Oh, okay, so we've got some more investigations with contact between cars 47 and 39. And debris in turn 14. So all sorts of shenanigans going on. Oh, Campbell Wallace is having to do a lot of defending here to hold on to the 5th spot. He's got 4 cars right behind him. Look at this. Is that Luke Walsh? Yeah, Luke Walsh is behind Charles Bacchio. He's looking too at that position. So all sorts of stuff going on. There's Rona around the outside. Surely he won't do it there. Oh, he's going to try though. Oh, it's so close and he won't quite do it. He backs out in the end. Smart move to avoid the contact there, but it's so close right now. And as well, 5th spot. And look at this. Rona's got a really lovely run with that straight. Surely he's going to have a look down into the right-hander as they go down towards the back up. About the last section of the track here. Sebring effect pretty powerful in these IndyCars, as we've already seen. Look at this. He pulls to the right-hand side of the inside line. Surely he's going to make moves stick, and he does. There you go. Very nice, clean move from Tobias Rona. And that is a effective position gain. He moves to 5th spot now, ahead of Campbell Wallace as he starts to get overtaken by all the guys behind him again. Obviously his pace not quite the scratch with the guys around him, so he's trying to hold on by track position as Tapio's going to try around the outside again. Round 2, trying this move into turn 1. I think he might actually make it stick. Unbelievable. He does. Oh, no, he doesn't. Not quite. So he gets stick as I think that's Lobson trying to stay out of the way there in lap traffic. So he manages to avoid any cones there. Good driving from him. But this battle is very intense. Position 6th all the way back to 11th in this battle. So a massive battle at the back end of the 10 here. I think, yeah, look at this. Charles Bacchio's having to go defensive. Wallace is going defensive. It's all going on in this midfield. I think Wallace is going to hold, is he? He will. But look at this Bacchio. Oh, Bacchio and Walsh is so close. Oh, Walsh. Oh, he catches the curb and nearly goes around. Let's give Beavis a chance in ninth spot now. He is looking on the inside. It's going to be the outside now. Luke Walsh surely won't make it stick around the outside. He's going to be a brave man if he do. He's going to try anyway. Oh, he's going to make it stick. I think he is. Is he? No, he's not. There you go. Luke Walsh holds, but only just. Look at this pack. It is an angry pack of cars fighting all over each other here. This is for 6th spot. The top 5 are going. Tobias Romeo's gotten past. He's loving this. He's absolutely bolted there down the road, but this is just a really intense fight after the safety car period. Campbell Wallace doing everything in his power to hold on to track position. And I don't think he's quite got the pace of the guys around him, but he has the track position. And at this point, the track position is what's important. But look at the pack. Lobson spun in the background. Nathaniel Lobson spun. It looks like he's avoided the wall though, so it's okay. But either way, this Wallace holds on. At the moment, he actually didn't get overtaken in the final corner. I'm expecting a bit of a move, but it doesn't happen. But this is a really close fight here at the back end of the 10. Just look at this train. It is such a train to go. This back here, I'm just going to have a look at Tapio here into turn 1. He's going to make it stick those on the inside. Doesn't make it stick. Good defense from Tapio. Just holds on the outside. Look at this. Luke Walsh is going to get the move done on Charles back here around the outside. What a move. Oh! Gets loose though on the exit. Nearly has contact with Charles. I managed to avoid it though. Oh, Tapio and Wallace are close in front. It's just all picking up, honestly. It's all the good mist is just descended here. Everyone is having an absolutely almighty scrap at the back end of the 10. Walsh something inside for the hairpin. Will he hold? I think he might. Oh, contact between them. Look at this. Walsh is through. Oh, he's not going to take both of them. He is. Luke Walsh just goes yoink and says, thank you very much. I'll take both of you if you don't mind. I think he will he? Oh, it's close. Tapio again up the inside. Oh, there's so much. I can't keep up with the switching. There's so many position changes going on. So Wallace now drops behind Tapio and I believe Matthew Beavis. I think he's going to get 2. He is. They're going, oh no, and Wallace is wide. That gives Charles Siegel the position as well. And now he's on the pump from Charles Bacchio as well. And Ali Ferry is in this as well. He's a lap down, so he's not actually in front of the position, but he's involved in this as well. So it's all kicking off. But either way, after all that, Luke Walsh has managed to gain from that. He's suddenly 6th out of nowhere, managing to get through all that without getting harmed. Great driving from Luke Walsh to get through all that and actually gain. So great stuff from him. So he now inherits 6 spots. Tapio in 7th, so he's status quo essentially out of all that. After all that switching, Matthew Beavis is now 8th. Talis Segal is now 9th. Campbell Wallace now drops to 10th, and he's got Ali Ferry right behind him. Ali Ferry's actually a lap down. So this is a bit awkward for Ali, as Ali's trying to unlap himself, but then you've still got Charles Bacchio just behind him, and he's actually fighting for position. So a little bit awkward there in that battle at the back end of the 10 now. It just gets a bit interesting on the curves there. Look at this, Matthew Beavis on Sherwin Van Slot. He's going to get the move done. He is. Great move there from Matthew. He's got the move done on Sherwin. Sherwin seems to be really struggling. I think Sherwin may have an issue because Sherwin is absolutely struggling massively in that car. Sherwin, keeping in mind, was ahead of this battle. He was in about 4th or 5th, and he is really struggling. And now, as he's getting passed now by Campbell Wallace, drops down to 10th spot now in that car. Oh, spun! Oh, contacts, and round goes Sherwin at the hairpin. There's a little bit of contact with Oli Ferry. I was kind of expecting that to happen, as I think Sherwin's got some kind of a problem, maybe a tyre wear or something alike. I'm not entirely sure. Maybe some suspension damage, but really struggling. Oh boy, Lobson having to do a bit of evasive action there in that. So, well, very interesting. Keeping in mind, in all this, Frederick is just trouncing everyone. He's now 11 seconds clear in the lead. Quite unbelievable. So there you go. So whew, that was something else. That was something else. Now, quite very intense battling in the back end of the 10 there, but that's really good to see. Really nice battling to see there. It's always very, very fun to watch between those guys. But I've looked through the top 5 now. It's Frederick Schornstein leading the race, as is kind of been the case for the entire race, from Evan Spall in 2nd spot now. So Evan, all of a sudden, has found himself on the podium from basically strategy, so great stuff for Evan. James Wilson is now in 3rd, after being clear of that battle at the back end, or behind him, basically. And then Tobias Rona has found himself in 4th, and he's actually closing in on James Wilson ever so slowly, so that could be a battle that could commence pretty soon. And yeah, and then we go back to that battle with Luke Walsh in 5th. Tapio is actually in 7th now, as Matthew Beavis has got through into 6th. Talis Segal is 8th. Look at this, Campbell Wallace has actually managed to gain on Talis. So Tal might come into the pump pretty soon. Sherwin is in the lane, and I'll just see if I can see if there's any damage here. Not entirely sure. I'm not entirely sure what happened to Sherwin, but Sherwin's in the lane, dropped down to 11th. all of a sudden. So I'm not entirely sure what happened to Sherwin there, but obviously had some kind of a problem because he lost a whole bunch of time to everyone around him. But either way, it looks like everyone's sort of sorted themselves out vaguely now, though. I think Campbell Wallace just had a little moment there and has dropped down to 10th spot. I'm going to guess that he had a little spin. Let me have a look here. I'll see if I can catch this in the replay. Oh, okay, yeah. I just went a bit deep into the hairpin and managed to drop down behind Charles Bacchio. So that's why Campbell is now in 10th spot. But either way, we actually only have 17 cars left, by the way. Norman Bruce retired about 3 or 4 laps ago, so I'm not entirely sure why. It looks like it may have been a disconnect. That or maybe he stalled the engine, not entirely sure. But either way, he's out. So we only have 17 cars left in this race. The attrition rate pretty high here in the opening round. But again, as we've mentioned already with these cars, they're quite a challenge to drive, so it's not too surprising that we've had quite a number of retirements in this opening round of the championship. So, either way, we are still going on here nicely. Frederick is again still trouncing the entire field by 12 seconds. Evan Spall holding on nicely in second spot. James Wilson's actually managed to gap Tobias Rona ever so slightly, so he looks like that pace is coming back to him. Luke Walsh is now safely in 5th spot after quite nicely, to be honest, negotiating that battle that he was in earlier on. Ooh, okay, so there you go. James Wilson has been given a penalty. There you go. So I think it's a drive-through penalty by the sounds of it by the race stewards. Again, this is the live steering that we've got in place for this series. So James Wilson looks like he's got a drive-through penalty to serve. So he's going to drop yeah, he actually is going to drop quite a ways down the orders. Oh, boy. I was just looking back at Tal Segal and nearly having a contact with Trevor Greenfield there. So some awkward moments there further back. That's reignited that battle for 8th spot as well. Actually, we'll keep an eye on this battle. Look at this. Tal's going to have to defend from Charles Bacchio now as he just had a little moment with the lap traffic car. That's really cost him here. Look at this, Charles looking around the outside. Oh, bit of a moment for Tal. He's going to give Charles the chance. I think Charles is going to get done, is he? Although Charles hanging on, but I think Charles has got it done. He has. So good stuff there from Charles. He gets that move done. Poor position. Moved up to 8th spot. As Tal and one of the lap cars. It's Ali Ferry having a bit of a close moment in this battle. Look at this. now Campbell Wallace is having a look at Tal Segal. This is interesting to see with this race. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I've just been noticing how sort of seesaw-like these battles are. It seems to me like people just sort of come off and on in terms of pace. It's quite fascinating. Look, he's having to defend from Ali Ferry. He's a lap down, which is really quite interesting to see. This is going to help Campbell Wallace. He's going to be looking at this, sort of licking his lips, hoping for a move as they go through the final complex. Tal having to go wide, and he loses the spot to Campbell Wallace. Goes from 8th to 10th in 1 lap, so that's a real shame for Tal. And yeah, that is really interesting. Keeping in mind, as James Wilson pitting, as is Charles Bacchio, keeping in mind that Ali Ferry is a lap down, but keeping also in mind that Ali Ferry has the pace of the lead guys, as we saw in qualifying. So that's why Ali Ferry is sort of being a bit of a pain to these lead cars, because he actually has the pace to be probably fighting with them, to be honest, if it hadn't been for some issues earlier on in the race. So a little bit awkward as they try to negotiate that, but either way they get through in the end. Again, Frederick Skornstein is now 15 seconds clear of Evan Spall, who's clear about 5 seconds clear of Tobias Rona, who's a bit of a word of his own at the moment in 3rd spot. Luke Walsh is now in 4th spot. Matthew Beavis in 5th. Tapio is in 6th in the number 37 car with Campbell Wallace in 7th. Tal Segal 8th. James Wilson now 9th after pitting with Charles Bacchio now 10th after also pitting. So I think at the moment we don't have any actual battles going on track. It's all calmed down after that quite hectic restart. So that was quite interesting to see, to say the least. And there you go. Yeah, so the live stewards have indeed given a drive-through penalty to James Wilson. So that is interesting to see. Obviously, the way R-Factor Sim, I think probably all the sims really work, is obviously admins have the power to give penalties and remove penalties as they see fit. So with this live stewarding, they actually do have the ability to give penalties to drivers on the fly. And it looks like James Wilson has been deemed responsible for that crash after the safety car where he had the contact with Charles Bacchio. You have to serve a drive-through. That's a real shame for him, as he now will drop further back down the field. So he will also, he'll be hoping for another safety car so he can re-catch the guys ahead. So very interesting stuff indeed as we're into the last third of this race, about 17, 18 laps to go. This one, as there you go, James Wilson now just peeling off into the lane now to serve his drive-through penalty. That's why he was in the lane again. Real shame for him after that after that concert. Yes, it is still going. I know, it's quite shocking, isn't it? But either way, it is still fascinating to see how this is all going to play out. As again, I think strategy is going to be an interesting one to watch. So I think we've got a few people on different strategies. So I'm interested to see if anyone is still got to pits in this race, because there may still be one or two guys who may have to pit because they didn't take the chance during the safety car to take that pit stop. Keep in mind also, I think Luke Walsh has actually lost a place. Yeah, so Luke Walsh has indeed lost a place to Matthew Beavis. I'm sure Davey probably caught that on the broadcast. Apologies, I was looking throughout the field. I didn't notice that switch in position, but Beavis has indeed gotten past Luke Walsh, and he now inherits fourth. So Matthew Beavis has gone from lucky dogging into the lead lap, getting involved in that crash after safety car, being a lap down, lucky dogging again, in a way, and getting back on the lead lap, getting through all the interesting battle that was going on, and suddenly he's in fourth spot. Beavis just giving us a bit of an expert run on how to avoid carnage and get yourself into fourth spot out of nowhere. So driving from Matthew to gain from that. He's now in fourth spot behind Tobias Rona, but Rona's a good 12 seconds ahead, so I don't think, unless this is another safety car, I don't see him gaining. Also, Cam Wallace is in the lane for what you would expect would be his final stop. Judging from the length of the stints so far, you would think he should be able to go to the end with that pit stop. I think Tal Segal just negotiating Trevor Greenfield there, one of the lapped cars. It's all a bit quiet at the moment as everyone's just trying to sort of go along, do their own strategies now as we get towards the latter phase of this race. About, I believe, 16-ish laps to go in this race. We're in the last little bit of it, and it's looking very much like a done deal for Frederick Skornstein. He has looked dominating all race long. Yeah. And it's been quite a fascinating performance, yes, chat. It is going at race pace, so at least let's be thankful the race is actually going at race pace now and not just stuck behind the safety car. So thumbs up for that. So at least we've got some actual race pace racing going on here rather than just being stuck behind a safety car at 100 kilometers an hour. So at least we've got that going for us. So yeah, but either way, Frederick, as I said, has just been dominating all race long. No one's can touch him right now. Really, he's just in a league of his own in terms of pace. Quite impressive to see from him. But I think a shout out really deserves to go to, as I'll just quickly have a little bit of a drink of my beverage I've got here, keep my voice somewhat smooth. But I think a shout out deserves to go out to Evan Spall, to be honest, as he was obviously earlier on in the race, he was down at sort of the back end of the 10 even at one point there. It was quite a ways off the back, and he's suddenly in second spot after, I think, playing quite a strategic play. I'm pretty sure he pitted a bit differently to... Yes. Well, see, what will happen is we'll have a piece of debris, in quotation mark, go over the track, and we'll have a safety car. That's what will happen. That will be what will happen, probably. Wink, wink. But yes, no, I think a shout-out should be going out to Evan Spall. His performance so far, he played a bit of different cards strategically, and it's come back to sort of give him a gain in this stint, as he sort of was in the right place at the right time when all the safety cars occurred, and he's found himself in second spot. And as we saw in qualifying, he has the pace to be up there, so he's actually back up to where he probably should be. And so he's looking quite nice right now to possibly get a podium here after looking like he may not even get a top 10 earlier on this race. So it'd be good for Evan. I'm sure he'll be very happy with that. But either way, great stuff from him. Again, Tobias Rona in third spot, a good solid race from him. Been a bit up and down, obviously found himself a bit further down the field earlier on. So it's sort of worked out in the end for him after all that. Again, Matthew Beavis, lucky dogging his way into the lead lap, so I'm sure he'll be very happy with that. Luke Walsh, after a bit of shenaniganry earlier on, is in fifth spot. Now, Tapio is kept relatively clean, just found himself in sixth spot after being outside the 10 earlier in the race. Yeah, no, what Frederick, what we'll do is... we're just saying about Frederick having issues, and he spun into the first sector, so... Oh dear, we've cursed him. There you go. So he spun there in the first sector. I'll go back and see if I can figure out what happened here. Oh, he just went too fast. Yeah, just went too deep in the left hand right towards the hairpin. He's just spun on his own. Hasn't hit the wall though, so I think he really only lost like maybe 10 seconds in the end. So not really much of a loss for Frederick, but that does give Evan a really, 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 really faint sniff at the lead. It's down to 9 seconds, but we just know Frederick's gonna, eke that gap out again. So. So yeah, But yes, all very interesting. James Wilson, by the way, has popped out in 9th after serving that drive-through, so he's in the top 10 still. So at least he's in the top 10. At least he's still on the lead lap. So if there is a safety car again, he's at least still in with a shout of maybe gaining spots there. And he is, yes. What he's doing is he's just trying to eke a safety car out so he can have a challenge. Because he's sitting there right now, he's going, well, I'm cruising. I'm nearly falling asleep right now. Could I please have a safety car to spice things up? What he'll do is he'll safety car it and then he'll pit and drop down to like 5th and then come through and win the race. No worries. That's what I reckon will happen. He'll spin, safety car, pit, somehow go down a lap, unlap himself somehow and still win with 5 laps to go because Fredericks. That's what I'm predicting. There you go. He actually does pit now, so there you go. So he's done the first step of my master plan to get him to fall back through the field. But yeah, he pits now from the lead. He should actually drop down for once out of the lead, unbelievably. So thanks to the safety cars, his gap's not as big that he can pit freely and come out in the lead. So he should come out, I would say, in 4th or 5th is what I'm going to guess here. Let's have a look. Beavers is just coming past the start-finish straight now. He passes Frederick. Will Luke Walsh pass Frederick? I think he might just pass him. So I think Frederick is going to pop out right behind Luke Walsh. Yep, there you go. So he drops out in 5th spot after pitting. And that is probably, again, that won't be effective position, so I'm going to assume everyone else has to pit at least once more. So I would say that he'll regain the lead once everyone else pits. We will see. I'm a little bit, apologies, I'm a little bit out of sync with where the strategies are. So we will see how this all plays out, because if Evan and Co have played this right, Frederick may actually have to pass them on track. Let's hope so, because then that would actually provide some good moments of overtaking, which would be very nice for broadcast-wise. And I would be not against that at all, but we will see. But Frederick, as I said, just pitted then. He will be on fresh rubber, of course, so expect him to be lightning fast. And I wouldn't be surprised if he gets past Luke Walsh pretty sharpish, being A, on fresh tyres, and B, being Frederick. We know how fast he is. So this would be one to watch. We'll be watching that with interest, and we'll see how this all plays out, because, again, different strategies. Again, Evan Spall, he's been on a bit of a different strategy to the rest of the field. Tobias Rona, he was on a bit of a different strategy as well. So everyone's doing their own kind of thing strategy-wise, so we'll see how this all plays out in the grand scheme of things, which will kind of iron itself out in the last kind of 5 laps to actually understand what everyone's doing and what the plays are. But either way, going along now, let's see, Tobias Rona is in. There he goes to Tobias Rona pitting, so he will drop down from 2nd now as he does his final stop of the race. So these guys obviously now who have pitted, if there's a safety car or not, they won't pit now because there's no point, seeing as their final stops they will do. Matthew Beaves, he now pits from 3rd spot, so he's in the lane. Luke Walsh doesn't pit, so Frederick will actually have to pass him, unbelievably. So Frederick's actually going to do some sort of overtaking this race. Throws in there going, hey, cool, I think we'll do some overtaking now, that's fine. Frederick is right behind Luke Walsh already, so I'll keep an eye on this for you, but I think Frederick's going to blast past Luke Walsh with pretty relative ease, judging from his pace advantage. So again, we'll see how this goes. If he's smart and if he plays his cards right, he'll just wait for the right time. No need to rush this, because I assume the rest of the guys around him have to stop still, so he should gain the spots anyway, whether he passes them or not. Let's have a look down into the hairpin. Well, look at that, just straight down the inside, easy as you like from Frederick. Pulls it up, no worries. That is a textbook pass down the inside. Look at this, Luke Walsh has got a lovely exit. He's going to try and get back at Frederick. Damn it if he's the leader or not. He's going to have a go. Look at this, he goes down the right hand, but just look at how much later Frederick can brake, and he just easily maintains that position, just showing how fresh those tyres are and how much faster he is. Nearly, not quite. Managed to avoid contact, so Luke didn't have a moment there with Frederick. So Frederick now back up to 2nd spot as the guys around him have stopped. And I would expect Evan would probably have to stop as well as Lobson spins in front of him. I wonder if this will trigger a safety car. Has he lost his rear wing? No, he hasn't. Wow, so there you go. Somehow Lobson avoids losing any body bits as he spins to the final corner. He now pits actually from 14th, so that's Lobson. He spun right in front of Evan Spall. So that was a bit of an awkward moment. So there you go, but managed to get away with it either way. So Spall leading at the moment. It's probably going to be something like 17 seconds. Let's have a look. 19 seconds. Okay, not as bad as I thought, but leading by 19 seconds at the moment over Frederick. Again, Frederick on fresh tyres, and I assume Evan has to still pit, so I would say Frederick will regain an effective lead once he pits. Luke Walsh and Tapio yet to pit as well. That's why they're still up in 3rd and 4th spot. Tobias Rona, of course, just pitted, same with Matthew Beavers. That's why they've dropped back. And yeah, we're going along quite nicely. Early Ferry in the lane too, by the way, along with Nathaniel Lobson. Keep in mind, by the way, that Ali Ferry has, again, keep in mind Ali Ferry had that moment on, I believe, the first restart, going up the back of somebody else and losing their front wing. And so that's why Ali's been pretty much on the back foot all race long. But the pace that Ali has is quite impressive, as we've seen, being able to keep with the guys on the lead lap. So through basically perseverance, they managed to get Ali's been able to get back up to 12th spot and is within striking range of Martin Vinders. So I'll keep an eye on that, because that could be a battle that could develop as the race goes on, as we get towards the final phases of the race. Yeah, Ali up into 12th, so credit to the recovery drive there. Quite a nice one, to say the least. Evan Spall pitting, there we go. So Frederick will regain the lead. I know, I was kind of hoping Evan would stay out and maybe make it a bit of an interesting charge for Frederick, but obviously his strategy wouldn't allow that. So Evan in the lane will be a pretty short stint, actually. Only be like a 10-11 lap stint for Evan to get to the end. So he should be able to push pretty hard, really. You won't have to worry too much about tyre wears. We've seen these tyres lasting a good 18 laps or so. So he would say Evan should be good to the end, so he will exit as well. Lubson's actually still in the lane. I don't know what's going on with Lubson, but his engine is smoking right lovingly. You could cook an egg on that engine right now. That's how hot that is. There's pouring smoke out there. Is this engine still going? I don't know if it is. Ooh, okay. I wonder if Lubson's actually stalled. I'm not entirely sure, but his engine is smoking like you wouldn't believe. So I wonder if he's going to possibly... Oh, no, he's out. Okay, there he goes. He's out of the lane. So Lubson now finally exits with a smoking engine. Very long pit stop for him. He obviously had some damage to the suspension that he had to repair, so he exits in 16th. But either way, Frederick now regains the lead after everyone's done their stop. So Frederick Skornstein looking like he is pretty much on point to win this race quite handsomely. In that car, again, just been a masterclass for Frederick, is in a league of his own in terms of his pace. Just so much pace in that car. Very impressive indeed. But he now has the lead, 3.5 seconds clear of Luke Walsh, who is still yet to stop. And he's the only one of the lead cars who hasn't stopped yet. So I'm waiting for him to stop. We'll see. It's possible he might try and eke out to the end. We'll keep an eye on that for you. He has a good 10 seconds back to Evan's Spall, but obviously that's decreasing pretty rapidly as laps go by, because obviously Evan's on fresh tyres and Luke is not. So we'll keep an eye out for when Luke pops in. You would assume he will stop at some point. When exactly is the question I'm wondering. But yeah, either way, Frederick looking pretty on point. It's just been a masterclass, isn't it? Really, he's just been out in the lead, just been doing his own thing all race, and just bagged this first round of the championship. Luke Walsh now pits, by the way, so he is in, and that will be his final stop of the race. Then he'll be able to go to the end. After this, he should pop out. I think he was about 5th or 6th, wasn't he, before the stop? So he should pop out around about Charles Bacchio-ish, around there somewhere. So is where I'd say he will pop out. Yes, Frederick Skornstein looking very, very nice indeed to take this win in that number 13 car. Shame doesn't have a livery, I've been noticing that. Keeping in mind, if you're wondering why his car looks a bit bland in terms of colours and sort of sponsor names and so on, it's because his car is actually the default race department skin. That's the default template that the drivers get. And they can either use the default template if they want to, or they can actually make a skin themselves. Obviously, most like to make their own skin, but obviously Frederick deciding not to. So he's just using the default skin, and he's managing to beat the snot out of everyone. So there he goes. Yeah, it's a shame. It'd be good to see more different colours on the grid, but either way, obviously that default skin not slowing him down at all, as he's got some really nice pace there in the lead. I will say, we've got a nice battle developing for second spot. Evan Spall has been caught quite handsomely by Tobias Rona. Tobias showing pretty strong pace here at the latter half of this race, and I think that could be a battle that may start soon. Yeah, it is the clown car, you see. It's the clown factor that's getting to win. It's that clown factor. It is. What it's doing is everyone gets close to him, they just get scared. They just get themselves scared to... pants tore off them in fear, because it's a clown car, and obviously, clowns are clowns, so... so that's probably why I reckon. I reckon everyone's just scared of the clown car, so they all just drop back. They're like, oh god, it's the clown car, run away, and they just run away in fear of Frederick's car. That's my theory anyway, so there you go. Dear. But there you go. But I will say this battle, we'll keep an eye on this battle for a second, because Evan Spall is actually under quite substantial pressure from Tobias Rona here. good to see a nice little battle here in the second spot in the last phase of this race. They're actually coming up on some lap traffic here. That is, I believe that's Alex D. Dominic Antonio they're coming up on right now. He's won a lap cars. Oh, I say it's a battle, and then Tobias runs in the wall. Oh dear, dramas for Tobias. I think he was just pushing too hard, was he? I was kind of looking at Alex when that happened. Let's have a look. Is he gone? Oh, gets a twitch on. Oh, that's awkward. Oh, ouch. Big contact with the wall. And that looked like to me he's got a twitch, didn't he? He just got out of the left-handers, just pushed a bit too hard, got caught on the curb and just went straight to the wall. Real shame for him. And that's going to drop him way down the order. So Tobias goes from looking like a podium certainty to probably now I'd say he's looking like he's probably going to drop down to even maybe 8th or 9th. So real shame for Tobias. It's going to hand podium to Matthew Beavis though. So Matthew Beavis, after looking like struggling to be on the lead lap, not sort of looking like he was struggling to be on the lead lap, not sort of 10 laps ago, he's suddenly on the podium. So again, just shows if you just stay clear of trouble, just play the smart game, you can suddenly gain an absolute a lot from just staying clear. So Matthew Beavis looking like he's going to obtain the podium. Here he goes, just passing Tobias now. Tobias limps around without a front wing. So Matthew Beavis on the podium all of a sudden after struggling to be in the top 10 earlier on. So great stuff from Matthew Beavis and that recovery drive to be on the podium. Luke Walsh should gain 4th spot. Charles Bacchio should now go up to 5th spot. Tapio will be 6th, I believe. James Wilson, by the way, has been recovering. He's been slowly but surely eking back the time he lost having to do that drive-through. He's actually not far off 6th and 7th spot, so expect James Wilson to maybe have a few little battles going on in the final phases of this race. Tobias Rowan has finally made it to the pit lane. He's now going to have to get that front wing repaired, so real shame for Tobias. It's been a pretty solid race from him so far. Hasn't really been involved in anything too major, and unfortunately, right when it mattered, he's just a little bit of a lapse of concentration, lost the car, and then that's just that. So it doesn't take much, as we said. These IndyCars are not easy to drive at all. So a little lapse in concentration is all it takes for them to have a moment. So big shame for Tobias, but he will at least still be going. So at least he won't be out of the race. That's the main thing. As he now exits the lane, as Andrew Harper's in the wall too. He's in the wall at the last corner. Lost his front wing, but he should be able to keep going as well. Yep, gets across the track, no issue. So he will continue on. Yeah, big shame for Tobias. He has actually managed to. He's actually come out right with Campbell Wallace. So side by side, they exit the lane. Oh, he nearly gets caught on the curb and spins again. Oh, I was a bit worried there, but Campbell Wallace has a look down the inside, the left-hander, but I think Rona will hold, and Rona should have pretty substantially quicker pace than Campbell Wallace, so he should be able to walk away pretty easily. But he is 8th spot. At least he's still in the top 10. That's the main thing. So that is the main advantage for Tobias. But keep an eye on James Wilson. He is closing ever so slowly on Tapio and Charles Bacchio up ahead of him. And that's probably going to be the battle that I think will be the one to watch in the final laps, as James is catching after that. Obviously, had that drive through earlier on. And yeah, there you go. So no full course yellow for that. No full course yellow for the debris, I know. I was waiting for the debris. Reminds me of NASCAR. I swear there was one race in NASCAR I watched at one point where there was literally a puny bit of fender that was on the track somewhere, and they called the full course yellow from this one bit of debris that was somewhere on the track. I don't even know if it was on the actual track. It may have been down on the apron from memory. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, that was quite an interesting moment. And conveniently, that safety car for that race was called about 5 laps from the end, I think. So not convenient much, but anyway. Either way, we'll keep an eye on this battle. Potential battle for 6th spot, because James Wilson is, look at that, he really gained a Tapio through that left-hander there. I think he went a little bit wide, number 37 entry in that, and now gives James Wilson a lovely run towards the hairpin. I wonder if we'll have a look. I think he's a bit too far back at the dive. Yeah, he's a bit too far back, but he's looking very promising right now to maybe challenge for that 6th spot. And I wonder if he's even slipping 5th spot. It'll be a pretty impressive drive if you can grab a 5th spot from Charles here. In these closing stages, you've only got about 6 or so laps to go in this race. Frederick Skornstein, as we've mentioned already throughout this race, has pretty much driven a flawless race, and it's just dominated the field. Just so much pace in that car. Literally is in a league of his own here at Sebring. So the guys around him, the rest of the field has got a lot of work to do if they want to actually challenge Frederick here, because he seems to have that car absolutely teed up and absolutely set up to a T in terms of performance and tuning. So great stuff from Frederick. But either way, Evan Spall, as he says, had a really nice race as well in 2nd spot, looking pretty solid to get a podium there. He'll be after that. Again, Matthew Beavis, after looking like struggling to get a top 10, early on in the race. He's looking solid for a podium as well if he can keep on the green stuff. Keep on the black stuff. So good stuff from him. Luke Walsh as well, fourth spot. He's been a bit quiet in this last 10 laps, so he's been cruising along in fourth spot, but looking pretty good to get a 4-4 Simtech. They'll be happy with that. Didi Antonio in again, by the way. I swear he's pitted about 7 times this race, so a bit of a shame for him as he goes along. James Wilson, he's there. Oh, Tapio goes wide. Oh, Tapio's in the wall. Big crash. Oh, big hit in the wall there. Wow, that was, just went too far into first turn. He's crabbing badly too. Wow, that car is heavily damaged. Who's that? It's all Martin Vinders trying to negotiate him. So real shame for Tapio there. Just went too deep into turn 1, caught the curb, and that was it. So real Sean. So, okay. Cheers for the correction in chat. Thanks for that. Yeah, there we go. Oh, we got a full course yellow. It's a miracle, ladies and gentlemen. We have a full course yellow in the last bit of this race. There you go. I tell you what, could you have timed that any better? Could you have? There you go, ladies and gentlemen. It's like it was meant to be, isn't it? It was meant to be. So there you go. We have a full course yellow here with about 2 laps to go in this race. So right at the very end there, it was all having that spin, the number 37 entry. That's what triggered that safety car. Just through that final corner, getting a bit wide on the curb and just spearing straight into the wall. It was a big impact with the wall. I'll tell you what, that car is crabbing like you would not believe. He's turning pretty much hard left to keep the thing straight. That's how badly that thing's damaged. So big dramas. Oh no, we've had more spins. I just saw on the broadcast. Oh dear. Up at the front of the field, it looks like we've had more spins, as I think people were trying to negotiate each other. Apologies there. I was looking back at another car there, so I didn't see that spin. But oh my God, it's all. Oh, that is bad. Oh, big incident there, and the broadcast caught that too. I saw them on the broadcast. Wow, Evan Spoor just got absolutely smashed by Sherwin von Slot there. Just went straight into the back of him. Oh wow, that is a big shame for Evan Spoor. He now has to pit from second place. He will be. I would not be surprised if he's absolutely raging in that car. No, I would be if I got speared in the back like that. So that is a big moment for Evan Spoor, and he's got major damage. Big moment there. Big moment. So Sherwin there I don't know what happened there. It looked like Sherwin was almost going at race pace, and he's just gone spearing into Evan. I believe the regulations, when safety car called, is the pit lane speed limiter, and he was not going a pit lane speed limiter, I can guarantee you that. So I'm not sure what happened to Sherwin. I don't know if he maybe didn't hear the call or what happened there, but either way, he just went flying into Evan Spoor, and poor old Evan now is going to drop way down the field. He'll probably drop down to, I'd say, probably 6th or 7th at least in that car, so real shame for him. But yeah, the big moment at the back end of this race. So they got a safety car at the final hurdle here. I wonder if we'll actually finish on the safety car. That'd be a little bit awkward, but I think we might, because I don't know if the field will catch up in the lap or two they'll get. We'll see how we go here, but big moment there on the safety car. So all sorts of drama, ladies and gentlemen, all sorts of safety dramas at the end of this race. Tapio triggering the safety car, and then poor old Evan Spoor getting absolutely destroyed pretty much out of that onto the back straight there as they were trying to go through under safety car conditions. So, oh boy. Bit of a So yeah, a bit of confusion, I think, there with the apologies. That's why I was a little silent there trying to figure out the penalty. So I think there's a little bit of a drama there. Yeah, so there's a little bit of confusion with who actually hit Evan there through the final corner, but now it's been figured out and all ironed out by the looks of it. But yeah, that was yeah, that was quite the incident right there. So yeah, big moment there for Sherman, and it looks like he's not that's just, it's all very there we go. So yeah, Sherman given a penalty by the live stewarding there for that incident with Evan Spall under safety car conditions. So there you go, all sorts of drama in this first race. That instance under safety car, instance on the first lap. It's it's all kicking off here at the end of this race. But we'll see. Hopefully we'll get. I don't know where the leader is. I'm just trying to pick up where Frederick is. He's just going through the final corner now. And Matthias is just exiting the lane now with the safety car. So he'll pick up the leader. And that will mean everyone will have to now catch up. So hopefully we can get a lap or two of green flag racing here at the end. But oh dear, yeah, it's been well. You can't say it hasn't been an interesting race and a entertaining one. I think, at least with all the stuff happening in the last like 20 laps. There you go. So everyone can now catch up to the safety car as they go around. So everyone now. Hopefully we'll get a lap or two of green flag to finish off here, as everyone will have to catch up to the safety car. But yeah, real dramas here to finish off this race. Well, what a way to finish. And you know what this has meant? It means Matthew Beavis is all of a sudden in second spot. So he's just going, thank you very much. He's going to get a podium out of this and get a second spot at that. Luke Walsh is all of a sudden on the podium after after the shenanigans he had earlier on. He's suddenly on the podium, so he's loving this. Charles Bacchio, after the incident with just James Wilson, he's in fourth. James Wilson himself was suddenly in fifth after the drive-through penalty, so he's happy. Oh no, Evan Spall has actually got no rear wing still. Oh, that's such a shame. I think he pitted for repairs and it mustn't have repaired it. Oh, that is such a shame. So he's still got no rear wing. Oh wow, that is a real shame for Evan, and that seems to be confusing everyone, because I think everyone thinks they've got to stick behind him. I would say surely they can overtake him, surely, but either way, yeah, real shame for Evan. He now has to limp around without a rear wing, so he's going to have to pit again. Wow. That's, yeah, real shame for Evan. What a shame for him. After looking like getting a podium, he's all of a sudden probably he's probably even struggled to get a top 10 if he has to pit again. So real shame for him. But either way, he's at the moment in sixth, whilst Rona's in seventh after the spin earlier on. Campbell Wallace is still in eighth after all this, so he's still in the top 10. Oh, okay. Oh, no, poor Evan, apparently. So just to clarify with Evan, apparently Evan didn't actually know that the wing, I assume didn't know the wing was damaged, I suspect, or something like that, or didn't have it changed correctly. Unfortunately, he has got no rear wing, so he's pitted, not had it repaired, and he's going to have to pit again to get it repaired. So real shame for him in that car. And he'll pit now and get the front and rear wing repaired. So he's actually got to repair both of them now in that car, so real shame for him. He's eighth at the moment. He may even drop further as the safety car and co come round. Hopefully we'll get a lap or two of green flag. I think we'll at least get a lap, surely, of green flag racing. Let's hope so as we go along. But Frederick still leading, and again he's got 2 lap cars between himself and Matthew Beavis. Still playing into Frederick's hands. Okay, yep, so yeah, just looks like a bit of a pit stop error there for Evan was why he unfortunately didn't get that rear wing repaired. So real shame for him as he's looking on point to get a podium, and unfortunately just a moment under safety car is what's led to him now all of a sudden probably going to go down a lap. Actually, let's have a look. I think he will actually go down a lap. Let's have a look as Frederick and the leaders come through, still sitting in the lane. He still hasn't got it repaired, waiting for that wing to repair. Is he actually going to beat it out? I don't think he will. Yeah, I think he's going to have to unfortunately drop behind. So real shame for Evan as he goes down a lap now, thanks to that incident. So just gone from a fantastic result on the podium to at least 12th spot. Yeah, he'll be 12th, but unbelievable. So it just shows how quickly things change in racing. You're having an absolute... yeah, this is the luck you'll get where it doesn't actually change. I know that if it's anything like R Factor 1, which I'm guessing this could be a thing that's carried over. I know in R Factor 1, if you lost a rear wing and or a wheel, it was a bit touch and go on whether it actually did repair it. And it looks to me like Evan's going to possibly be unlucky and not get it repaired. I really hope for his sake that isn't what happens, but it's not looking good for him, unfortunately. So real shame for Evan there after looking like he had a very promising result on the cards. Just one of those things, wrong place, wrong time, and bit of miscommunication, I think, on the safety car. And unfortunately, he's and I don't know if he'll even get that repaired. So real shame for Evan after quite a strong race for him. Oh no, he has. Oh, there he goes. The rear wing has repaired. There we go. So Evan gets the wing repaired, and he will be able to at least finish with all these body parts on the car. So there you go. So good stuff for Evan. Hooray! after that, surely he'll be probably one of the most frustrated drivers in the field, I'm sure. After that, after a podium being snatched from him. I know if I was in his position, I'd be quite fuming in that car, but just got to bring it to the end. At least he can get some points surely out of this race. But he is 12th, and he is on the same lap as about the next 4 cars ahead of him. So he could potentially get 8th if he gets a really nice start. So he should catch up with the field before the safety car gets to the end of the lap. I'm really hoping we can get on the green here before this lap is done, so we can get 2 laps of green flag racing, I think, or 2 or 1. I think 2, yeah, 2 laps of green flag racing if Evan can catch up here before the end. I think he will, so surely we should hopefully go green the end of this lap. Let's find out, hopefully. Yeah, Frederick, as we've said, driven a pretty much flawless race. Hopefully, Frederick pretty much flawless in this race. Just, as I said, just absolutely, blitz the field in terms of pace and in terms of just general racecraft. Actually, I think we'll be green next time, Bike, so to wait for Tapio is the lucky dog this time around, the number 37 entry, so he has to catch up to the lead cars. So he gets a free lap there. I think Cameron Wallace is actually near the end of the queue, so theoretically he could possibly get a position here and get 7th, so keep an eye on that for you. So I think we'll actually get 1 or 2 laps of green flag to finish here. So yeah, what if yeah, Tapio was the lucky dog indeed. So yeah, what a fascinating way to end this race. Very much all in the air, that's for sure. So we should have, assuming everyone gets to the end here on the final lap, we should have, there you go. So yeah, just getting confirmed from the live stewarding. It will be safety car in this lap, and I think it should be 1 more lap. That's it. So we have 1 lap of green flag to finish off here the first round of the Race Department IndyCar World Series. Again, looking like Fredericks, unless he gets a very poor start, you're thinking Fredericks surely got to be on point to win this one, just with his pacing consistency. You would think surely no one can really challenge him for this race win. Matthew Beavis, again, a shout-out deserved for 2nd spot after looking like top 10 in the tall order. He's in 2nd spot now as we head towards the green. And interesting to note, as soon as that, then Talis Segal is actually 9th and a lap down, which is interesting. So that's a bit of a shame for him, unfortunately. Vitali was looking good in that fight for the top 5 even earlier on, just a few instances for him, and he's found himself a lap down. So real shame for him in that car. Ali Ferry, though, deserves a shout out as well. Recovered to 11th spot and may even get another spot, as he's actually right behind Martin Vinders. So keep that in mind. And they're actually teammates, I think, too. So I'm interested to see how that goes. But either way, great recovery for him to get back up to that position after the early instance for him that dropped him way off the back of the field in the early stages of the race. And yeah, I think we'll actually get 1 lap of green flag, so we won't actually finish behind the... I don't think we'll finish behind the safety car. I'm fairly sure we'll get 1 more green lap here. So 1 green flag lap to finish off, and you never know what can happen in 1 lap. Keep that in mind. You never know. We've already seen 1 lap how quickly things have changed in this race, so I'll be surprised if maybe we see a very different order at the end of this lap, the end of the next lap that finishes the race. We will see very soon. See very soon indeed. Yes, there you go. As just one of the, obviously one of the live stewards, Lorenzo, just confirming to me there that it will indeed be 1 lap of green. So we have 1 lap of green here to decide this. It will be, I suspect this is going to be probably one of the most intense laps these guys are going to race, because it will be the 1 lap, no more after that. So it will just be 1 lap of absolute full ball racing, I think. So expect this to be quite a close final lap. I think we'll be... Everyone will be fighting like there's no tomorrow in this final lap. So just going up to the final complex now. The safety car will relinquish control to Frederick for the final lap soon, and we will be nearly done here. 62 laps of racing here at Sebring. It's been fascinating, I've got to say. I mean, it may have had a few moments of quietness, especially in the middle, obviously. In the middle phase there, it was a bit quiet, but I mean, surely you can't say this hasn't had a bit of everything, really. You've had safety cars, you've had instance under safety car, you've had spins, contacts, fantastic battling. It's just all kicked off here, I think. Strategy as well. So I don't think you can really say this race hasn't had it all, because I think it really has, when you look back at it as a whole. So here we go. Frederick under control of the field. Will wait for the call to go green as they go around the final corner. We'll have one lap of just full bore, no holds back racing. It's going to be chaotic, I think. So, and keep in mind, second, third, fourth, fifth are all together. There's no traffic between those guys. So, oh boy. Expect this to be anything, guys. I think this could be a absolutely just all or nothing final lap. So here we go, waiting for the call to go green here to finish off this race. It's had everything, and I think we're going to have everything once again in this final lap alone. It's going to be an absolutely chaotic race. A final lap. Here we go. We have green flag. They're away for the final lap. And Taliesin goes is smart, but he gets well out of the way on the restart. Fair enough for him, but into the first corner they go, piling in there, the whole field. And I think Frederick is clear. Oh, it's off. Matthew Beavis is off. He's off in second spot. He drops to fourth, already fifth spot on the opening lap. Real shame, but he is still going, which is the main thing. Oh, contact between Martin Vindes. Martin Vindes is in the wall, I think. Or has he caught it? No, he's in the wall. So he drops back as well. But look at this, Luke Walsh all of a sudden is in second spot. Bacchio on the podium. So Matthew Beavis has a moment. He's dropped to fifth place now. But there's Bacchio under the pump from James Wilson. So Wilson could well get a podium here after having a drive-through, keep in mind, earlier on. So still kick off. Oh no, Matthew Beavis is in the wall. Oh no. Oh, it's all gone wrong for Matthew Beavis, but what I think the one to watch here is third spot. Charles Bacchio and James Wilson are going at it like there's no tomorrow. Keep in mind, as I said, keep in mind, remember these two were the two of the contact earlier on. Wilson was penalised for the contact between these two early in the race that triggered a safety car, so it's a bit of interesting history between these two drivers in this race, but it's looking like Bacchio is holding for the time being. It's also close between Bryce Rona and Tapio Reinho there, and in the battle for fifth spot. They're also very close, but look at this. Frederick Swanstein has driven an absolutely perfect race. He's led from pretty much from start to finish. He's just been in a league of his own in pace, just absolutely dominated this field in the first round of this championship, and he's coming around the final corner now in the number 13 entry. Take the win here at round 1 at Sebring. Fantastic drive from him. He wins here at the Sebring International Circuit. Luke Walsh, get the name right, gets second spot. Great drive from him in the end. Charles Bacchio does hold third. Oh boy, over the line. Oh dear. It is just everything. All sorts of carnage. Everyone's having moments after the race. Oh dear, what a race. What a race. You can't say that hasn't everything, guys. Come on. You can't say you didn't enjoy that. I know I had a good moment. Oh, they're still having moments post-race. Oh, dearie. Oh, wow, what a race that was. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's the first race of the IndyCar World Series here at RaceDepartment, the inaugural season. And as I said already, you can't say that didn't have everything, because it did. Let's be honest. That had literally all that a race could have, and some. So there you go. But either way, we'll go through the order now. I know that everyone's gotten through. I think we're just waiting on Matthew Beavis to limp around the circuit. But here's the order as it is at the finish. Frederick Swanstein wins the race commandingly in the end. It was only a second thanks to the safety car, but if it weren't for the safety car at the end, he would have won by a handsome margin of probably something like 30 seconds. So great stuff from Frederick to win the first race of the season. Luke Walsh again, after all the shenanigans he had. Remember, he was down at the back end of the 10 at one point. He ends up finding himself in second spot, so great stuff from Simtech there. Charles Bacchio does hold on to the podium in the end, so great stuff from him after being a bit further back earlier on. James Wilson recovers from a penalty earlier on to be fourth. Tapio Reinho in fifth, so he actually gets a quite nice result there after looking like he was probably only going to be in the back end of the 10. He gets top 5, so great stuff from him. Tobias Rona in sixth after a spin earlier on towards the back end of the race. Campbell Wallace actually ends up 7th spot, so good stuff from him after looking like probably the best he could get was maybe a 10th spot or so. Matthew Beavers does end up getting 8th despite spinning on the final lap, so real shame for him, but he at least still gets good points. That's good for him. Ali Ferry, as I mentioned already, Ali Ferry, 9th spot. What a result for Ali. After spinning earlier on, after having lost his wing earlier in the race, manages to get a top 10. Great stuff to recover that position. And running at the top 10 is actually Martin Vindus in the end. So great stuff from Martin Vindus to end up getting a top 10 there after being pretty consistently in the midfield over the course of the race. So there you go. There you go. Oh boy, that race had it all and some. So we have our top 3 in the room. Apologies, by the way, if my voice is going. It's been a quite it's been a good long broadcast for me. My voice is just about ready to give up, I think, but I'll get pushed to the interviews. Don't worry, I can do the interviews. I can do it. So
I can help you.
that would be nice, Lorenzo. That would be nice. Thanks for the save there. But we will start with our winner, Frederick. What a race. Fantastic job for you to win that first race. Congratulations from me. You were just looking like a league of your own. I mean, how well set up did you have the car? Because you just seemed to be, you were a good second or more a lap faster than everybody else. Just had that car hooked up, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I raced this car competitively last year in league racing, but never really gelled with the car. But I still had a pretty decent setup, and it was created for Spa originally, but I just adjusted the wings a bit and adjusted the strategy, and yeah, that worked quite nicely. I got some practice in this week. I think something like 40-50 laps. That was quite good, but no really long runs. So yeah, I was taking it pretty easy for most part of the race, especially at the beginning. But yeah, to be honest, I'm not I mean, thanks first of all for all the organizers. But I was not 100% happy how the back end of the race was handled, because it was like a really dangerous situation. I think there were some crashes on the last lap, because I mean, I had such a big lead and I had 2 guys directly behind me, which I mean, I would have led them probably. And they had a lot more top speeds than me. So with the restart procedure, where it's just called green, 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 and the leader can't decide the pace, it was really dangerous for me, because I was dropped in one of the restarts earlier. So yeah, I was not really happy with the last yellow flag, to be honest, because it could have ruined the complete race. But I mean, in the end, it worked quite well. So I'm happy with that, happy with the result, and looking forward to the next round.
That's nice. Frederick, congratulations on your win, on your Mercedes-like performance, to be quite honest. Well, down the race line, you said about restarts. It concerns you a little bit, especially this last one. Did you had any other incidents that you actually were concerned down the line in this race? Because I saw you spinning in some of the laps, but were you concerned any bit of your pace?
No, not really. I mean, that spin, I think it was after one of the safety car periods, because for me, I mean, when you don't have a spotter, the race was pretty unclear, because for me, I calculated the race beforehand and it was like a 3-stopper. You could lose 2-stop with like some fuel saving, and I saw like some of the guys at the start managed like 22 laps because of the safety car, and so they were like in a window for a 2-stopper. And then in the middle of the race, I was not really sure if somebody was able to do a 2-stopper, so I had to really push the car, and then yeah, did a mistake, because the race was a lot longer than I expected, and I ran out of drink. So I was a bit tired towards the end, because I expected the race to be like 1 hour 40 and not like, I don't know, 2 hours 20 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's close to 3, not far off. Yeah, about 2 hours 20, 2.5 hours. Yeah. Yeah, but anyway, good result. Obviously, a great result really to start the season, and can't really start in any more of a perfect way. So congratulations again from me, and look forward to seeing the next round. Hopefully, this form can continue for your sake.
Yeah, I guess I will post the setup of my car after the race. So I don't know if it was down to setup, because I know at least 1 or 2 of the drivers, and they are usually quite fast, but they were way behind in pace. So I guess I will share it, and hopefully somebody can adapt some of the changes, and it could help the competitiveness.
I'll definitely I'll take a look at it because I want to drive a Mercedes like he does.
But yeah, you need to know it's not all down to the setup. It's mostly down to the driver.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Right. Well, again, thank you for coming in, Frederick, for that interview. Yeah, thank you for coming for that, and again, congratulations, and look forward to seeing you at the next round. All right, so I see everyone has joined for an interview. Great to see everyone popping in for an interview. It's really good to see. I love seeing that sort of enthusiasm. I think, though, unfortunately, we only get time to really do the top 3, possibly. Apologies again to everyone who's popped in. Great again to see you all popping in for interviews, but I would love to do you all, but we'd be here for like 15, 20 minutes after the race is done. We don't want to be hanging around too long, but either way, we'll go next to go next to apologies, my mind is a mess right now. Luke Walsh is who we'll go to. I got it, don't worry. Okay, so Luke Walsh, obviously we'll put you next for the interviews. Second spot for you for Simtech. Again, as I was mentioning throughout the broadcast, you had a bit of a topsy-turvy race. You were sort of in the mid that fight for the top 5 at one point. You were sort of at the back end of the 10, and then all of a sudden at the end, you found yourself in second spot. So, I mean, it looked pretty interesting from my view in terms of your race, but how was it from your view?
Very surprising. I was not expecting a top 3 at all. Coming into this, I turned up a little bit late, and I didn't have a lot of practice at all, so I was completely relying on a setup from my teammate. Kind of got used to it fairly quickly, but we were having quite a lot of problems once the tyres had gone off, and I was just understeering, could not get the car to turn in. So it was very hard to manage during the second half of the stint. When I came out of the pits, I was gaining time, passing people, and then halfway through the stint, it was just going backwards, and they were going straight past me again. So, yeah, it was very topsy-turvy. I went a lap down at one point, and yeah, I think it was mostly the safety cars and wherever I just kind of hit them just at the right time, and it just pulled me right up to the front.
Nice. Very congratulations on your second place. Very well driven, considering that you had your up and downs in this race. Did your strategy, you said you showed up really late. First of all, you showed up right about qualifying, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, but that was the first lap I did in the car.
But were you concerned that the pace could have gotten to you down the line of this race because of you didn't have any time to practice?
What, was I concerned that I was going to be miles off the pace?
Yes, because you didn't do the same number of laps as some other driver did.
Well, I've had quite a lot of seat time in this car in the past, so I know it fairly well. So I wasn't too concerned about that. I was just more concerned about the fact that everyone else is going to be another step up. So I mean, if you look at Frederick, the kind of pace that he was doing, it was completely unreachable for me. I would have never been able to do anywhere near that on what I was driving. So I don't think that would have been achievable, even if I would have done like a whole day of practice. So I think that was definitely a maximum result from today, to say the least.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I was reading something. Sorry, I got a little sidetracked. But yes, in the end, as you say, great result considering that you didn't have much practice at all, and all that kind of thing. Always good to come away with a podium when you've no practice. It's a great feeling. I think I know that one from experience, actually, to be honest. But yeah, no. At a certain other league, they didn't much practice before a round, and they managed to get a decent result. Anyway, but still, congratulations again for your second spot. And again, I'm sure you guys at Syntech are really happy with that. It's great stuff for you guys in the team championship as well. So look forward to seeing you guys at the next round. Hopefully similar form beholds you there.
I hope so. Thank you very much.
No worries at all. And we'll finish off. Hopefully, we'll just do a real quick finish off here with Charles Bacchio. Our last step of the podium on the third spot. Charles, is a bit of similar for you as it was with Luke. A bit of a topsy-turvy race. You're all over the place in terms of positions, but you're there at the right place at the right time at the end. But Great stuff for you to get third spot. How was the race from your perspective?
It was a tough race to say the least. Really, really long, and a lot of stuff happened on track. So as you said, it was just a matter of being in the good spot at the good moment. A lot of incidents incoming everywhere on the track. So I think people need to just watch the replays, understand where the mistakes were made. But overall, I think it was pretty good. I had fun most of the race, and I'm very happy with the third spot for the podium, and very happy for the Talking Racing team.
Oh, wow, very well. Congratulations, Charles, on third place. And it's good to see you got third place because how concerned were you with the incident with James Wilson? Because you were, if I'm not mistaken, you were in third place and you were battling, you got out of the track, and you were taken out. How concerned were you?
I was extremely concerned, to be honest, because my wheel was shaking and I had a crazy flat spot. The suspension was broken. The wheel offset was 5 or 10 degrees. But I was like, if I don't pit right now during the safety car, I could do 2 stops for the race. And in the end, it worked. So I had to really take care of the car during, I don't know, like 5 or 6 laps until the window opened for the pit. And that was really hard because the wheel was shaking. The G27 was shaking like crazy. But it paid off in the end, and that's what matters.
Indeed, yeah, it's the end result is the thing they're after. So again, congratulations on the podium, and hopefully similar results ahead of you for the rest of the season.
Yep, thanks.
No worries at all. All right, so that wraps up the interviews for this first round of the championship. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Definitely was a race that had it all, as I mentioned. It literally had pretty much everything you could ask for out of a race and some. So I hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hopefully I managed to keep you guys entertained throughout the race going along. But I will ask you, Lorenzo, from your perspective, obviously you're live stewarding that race. And again, well done to you and Matthias for the live stewarding efforts for this one. But how's the race for you from your perspective from watching from a sort of a steward's perspective and that sort of thing?
Well, from my perspective, well, it was a little bit complicated because of so many incidents, but it was fun to do it. It's our first time doing it, mine and Matthias. So apologies to all drivers for the safety car in full course yellow that you guys thought it was a little bit problematic, so to speak. This is still a work in progress. We're going to get better at the other rounds. That's the only way for us to get better. We take every feedback that you guys give us down the line. But for me, it was a cool thing. We basically spoke in Portuguese for most of the stuff, so it was good to see some other language being spoken. But it was interesting, really interesting, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen on the further races.
Indeed, yeah, it should be a fascinating season ahead for sure, especially if that first race was anything to go by. So, looking ahead, quick as a wrap up here. Next week, obviously, is the minis round 3. Round 3. I do speak English, I swear. At Ribeiro Preto. Sorry, I mashed the hell out of that. There we go. Lorenzo's got me covered. So apologies. The end of a long stint in the box here, so my pronunciation's a bit out the window. But that is the next round of the minis. That's next week. Should be me and Lorenzo guiding you through that next weekend. I look forward to seeing you guys for that. We've already seen the first 2 rounds of that. That's been a really fantastic series. And I think the third round will be even more of the same. It's a very tight circuit around there. They're very fun. I did one of the club races around there recently in the minis, and it was a hell of a lot of fun. So that should be a really nice round of the mini challenge there for round 3. The next round for this series, the IndyCars, is going to be round 2, I believe, in 2 weeks' time, June the 4th. Same time, same place. Broadcast-wise, it's going to be at the Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, 54-lap race around there. So at Montreal should be a fascinating race again. A very nice circuit, that one. It's a very fun circuit to race around. I've actually just recently been doing quite a few races around there for another league. It is a very fun track, and generally a driver favorite, I've found, with most drivers. So should be a fascinating second round ahead for us in this series. Hope you guys enjoyed the first round here of the inaugural season of the Race Department IndyCar World Series. And hopefully we'll see you guys next week for the minis. And until then, from me, myself, before we go, actually, I should say a thank you again to Lorenzo and Matthias, of course, for all the organisation and getting this league up and running. Very much appreciated. And of course to Dave Van der Ven, as always, for the amazing work behind the cameras. What would we do without him? I don't know. probably not survive. Anyway, thanks again, of course, to Davey for that, all the work behind the cameras. Hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll hopefully see you guys next week for the minis. So until then, it's bye from me and the rest of the crew here at Race Department.
Peace.
Do you have what it takes? Tighten your belts. Shut your visor. The battle begins now.